What is going on, everybody? It is episode 490 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today we have a returning special guest, Vara Dark.
Hi.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
I'll tell you what, though. I felt bad because last night, what happened, guys?
It was a troubled journey.
We decided, look, we're going to see the Marvels. It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a disaster. What better thing to do than to bring Vara back to watch the Marvels with us?
Perfect timing.
Unfortunately for me.
So we did this, but then her train gets delayed, and there's all sorts of stuff going on.
So you have to actually go through hell to watch hell to experience 2 hours of it.
And so when she got in late, she had to go see the movie today before the show, right?
Yep.
And I was as I got done and I left the movie last night, I sent her a message. I was like, I'm so sorry you have to go see this. But guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. As you just heard me mention, one of those things is we are going to be reviewing the long-awaited, highly anticipated movie, The Marvels, starring Brie Larson. We're gonna get into it. I've got a lot to say.
How thrilling!
Aren't you excited?
Just so wonderful.
I've got thoughts.
Technically, our lives are all on an upward trajectory from here on out because that was our lowest point.
Yes.
Like we reached rock bottom watching it.
We're going to get into that, and there's more than just that news when it comes to the Marvels. We're also going to be discussing the fact that there was a Twitter post that went somewhat viral for a while that yesterday that said only white men hate the Marvels and they're review bombing it. That's
Even
what they were
though
saying.
that's not the truth.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. We are also going to talk about the fall of Jezebel. The feminist magazine and site has closed its doors for the final time. I feel like the Gawker story will just never end. The history of Gawker will just go on forever. So we're getting into that. We got a bunch of other stuff to discuss today. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and would you subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already? We are on our way to 75,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for that. Remember to turn the notification bell on. I even said it right that time, which I'm very, very excited about, so that you guys can be notified anytime a new episode goes live or a new segment goes up. Also remember, please, that all Super Chats $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then we will get right back on topic as soon as we're done. Maybe you have thoughts on the Marvels. Maybe you went and saw it last night. Maybe you care about Jezebel. All of those things. You may want to send us a message to talk about it. So that's all that stuff, guys. If you're ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Vera, are you ready?
I am ready.
She is ready.
Unfortunately.
See, I feel so bad.
Let's just jump right into it, I guess.
And first things first, guys, we've got a bunch of news in relation to a bunch of Hollywood scheduling. As you know, the SAG-AFTRA strike ended yesterday, and now we've got some moved release dates for all of the new Marvel films. The first one being Deadpool 3, which is coming out July 26th of 2024. We've got Captain America 4, that's Captain America Brave New World, coming out February 14th, 2025. All of these dates, other than Deadpool, have been moved into the year 2025.
Yep.
Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Blade, all moved to 2025. Are there any of these you actually have any hope for?
Oh, I have a lot of hope for Blade. I really do. I know there's been a lot of negative rumors surrounding it with, them going very female power with it. And even though someone on the project did try to debunk that, that was an old script. So I have a lot of hope.
Shouldn't have been any script like that.
Well, right. There shouldn't have been any script for that. But I have a lot of hope for Blade. I want to say Fantastic Four. I really do. But unfortunately, it's just, I don't at the same time. Like, I want it to be good, but I have low expectations for it.
I think out of all of these, the thing I find the funniest is because we were talking about the show before about how lazy the multiverse is. See, Blade is the only one where I think they should use it because I wanted to bring Wesley Snipes back as alternate reality Blade. That's what I want. And I want swear words. They're saying it's going to be rated R. I want cuss words. I want drum and bass music and industrial rock from the 90s. I want it to basically look like The Matrix with vampires.
Be so good.
But it likely won't. We can hold out hope. I don't have the hope these days, man.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard.
very black-pilled when it comes to this stuff. And the movie last night is not helping. If I'm being completely honest there.
I looked further into the film release schedule into 2026 and 2027, which still might change, obviously. But it looks like Phase 6 is supposed to be over in 2027. and in the
What?
MCU.
Oh my God.
With the last 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, if Marvel is already in the state it's in right now,
Right.
you can't keep this going for another 4 years
Yeah,
or
no,
5
there's
years
no
even.
way.
Like, that's just not going to happen. It's
stretch
already
it.
sputtering out of
Right.
control.
They can stretch it for like 3 years, very maximum.
If we keep getting
but, like,
diminishing
2
returns
years.
at this rate, like,
Right.
you will not be able to make another Avengers movie.
Well, right,
You
no,
will not
of
have
course
the money to
Yeah, they're
make
not gonna
another
have the
Avengers
money.
movie.
Yeah.
Unless you pull it out of Disney's ass. I don't know. Maybe they have a secret like cash
The
cow.
vault.
Yeah, they
The
have
vault
a vault
under the
of
castle.
Scrooge McDuck
Yeah.
waiting to fund the last Avengers movie. But like then thinking further after that, what happens after Phase 6? Supposedly X-Men?
They should just make Bob
Right.
Iger the villain.
They
They should just make
should.
Bob Iger and Kevin Feige the villain.
They should.
They should do that.
Final boss fight.
Yeah, that would be good. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like when it comes to Marvel, I've made no bones about it that I just don't really care anymore. I fell off after Endgame, and even really before that, I really like. To me, Marvel peaked at Winter Soldier. That was when Marvel was at its peak for me. So when I see these announcements, especially with Captain America getting a bunch of reshoots now,
Yep.
which is not exactly hopeful. Granted, it is fair to point out that reshoots are a very common practice,
very
and it's
common.
often used as a way for people to kind of raise trouble where no trouble actually
Right.
exists. It's not like reshoots are a completely
But
uncommon
the
thing.
wording is what
Yes.
you really need to hone in on. And we're hearing about massive reshoots that they have a lot of new work to do. So
And they should have just made a Falcon movie anyways. It just shouldn't be a Captain America movie
100%,
anyways. There was
100%.
no reason to do that because again, another character that was fantastic in the
Yep.
previous movies that is getting what they call an upgrade for no
Right.
reason. There's no reason to do that. It does a disservice to Anthony Mackie, who's actually a very, very talented actor, to then force him to be constantly compared to Chris Evans, who
it's so difficult,
Yeah.
right, to live up to that legacy
Yeah.
and those high expectations that we have at this point.
And nothing that I saw yesterday makes me feel any better about that. Deadpool 3, maybe. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds seems to have... Like, I wasn't a fan of Deadpool 2. I love the first Deadpool. Deadpool 2 didn't really do it for me.
I thought that it was pretty good.
Though
I
it is
mean, it
funny
was not
now.
as good as 1.
Thinking that Josh Brolin now... Technically, since continuity-wise, he's now both
Yeah.
Thanos and Cable.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But like, you can't really do. But they're going to be doing that now because I was saying that they're saying that they might be bringing in Jake Gyllenhaal to play Reed Richards
Right.
when he was Mysterio in.
They are getting their timelines absolutely.
Yeah, they don't care.
Crammed together,
Which is why South Park.
conjumbled.
Which is why South Park was right. It's
They
lazy.
were, yes, they were
lazy.
right.
It's lazy.
Yeah.
They know they can get away with it though. It's the arrogance.
It would be cool,
Yeah.
however, to like have.
It's the arrogance for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we could have maybe like Phil sit here one day. I'll just give him one of my hats and just say it's an alternate reality Brett, and then I can take the day off. That'd be cool.
Perfect.
That'd be cool. Somebody can see you can take a day off. Somebody can sit in for you, and we'll just be alt reality versions of us.
Halloween version of Pop Culture Crisis where everyone plays the same character, or the same actor who plays the different characters.
Yeah. The dude playing the dude being the
Yeah.
other dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another movie. Like I was talking to someone the other day about how movies you can't make anymore, and we were talking about how you can't make Tropic Thunder anymore.
Nope, that's
but
it.
the idea is that Ben Stiller refuses to apologize for that movie.
He does.
He's like, yeah, it's awesome. Like I'm not apologizing for that.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. says that too. He's like, dude, it was awesome. Like and he's like, nobody cares. Like if you go watch have you ever seen Tropic Thunder? But you've
No.
seen the clips of Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
in the
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so if
Absolutely
you go
viral.
watch any comment section where those clips are posted, it's all positive.
It is.
There's
It is.
nobody doesn't like it.
No,
But the
It's-
people who wouldn't like it haven't seen it or heard of it, right?
Yeah, but that's usually where you'd see them. You wouldn't
Right.
see them like in the movie theater. You
Right.
see them in the comment section where they can complain.
Yeah.
But even the comment sections are not negative for that movie, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And what did you guys think of the Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer? We can't show it here.
We
'cause we're
can't
gonna
show
get-
it because
yeah.
Netflix is gonna nuke our channel.
Yep.
But it's coming out in February next year. Hollywood is just gonna start like shitting out all the trailers that they had waiting
Yeah.
during the
Yep.
strike. So we'll be talking more about them. But this looks good, I think. Aside from Azula's casting.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think that Azula's casting is pretty bizarre.
It's bad.
It's bad.
It's just
And
bad.
I also think that as you know, we've talked about a lot of the makeup looks really weird for some of them, most notably the scar. Like, that doesn't look very good. I think that the costumes also look a little rough around the edges.
Some of them, yeah.
Not as bad as the Marvel's costume.
Not as bad. Listen, we'll get there.
in
But
mind.
it's making it very dark.
Yes.
When the show, while it tackles some serious topics, like genocide being one of them, is still a whimsical kids cartoon.
Right. It's meant to
and
be.
I don't want like a
very digestible way to take in the topic.
Yeah.
And
I don't
think
want it
that's-
to be
yeah.
like dark and gritty. It's about a 12-year-old that rides on a flying bison
right.
I'm over
and
dark
is able
gritty.
to fly.
I love Appa. I think Appa looks great.
Momo looked cute
Momo
too.
also looks cute, but kind of reminding me of Batty and Fern Gully a little bit. I'm a little worried there, but also kind of cute.
All of the comments are, hopefully Netflix nails it this time.
They're not going to. And that's the problem for me.
I mean-
okay? I have had to talk about so many anime adaptations
Yeah.
and so many of these live action failures.
Imagine being this much of a simp for Netflix or any of these entertainment mega corporations. This says, gotta appreciate Netflix for how many times they try to bring the things we love to life, even if they miss a few times.
a few times, 98% of the time, to be more accurate.
They just love the toxic sludge that they're getting fed.
I mean, that's kind of like, I aspire to one day have that level of hope that I can just be constantly disappointed over and over
I'm not at the
again.
level where I can be cautiously optimistic of
No.
anything.
right.
You know what I am optimistic for? Bambi the Reckoning. Did you see this?
Oh my god.
Horror Bambi.
Yes. I love this horror trend.
So it says, inspired by the animated movie Bambi, it transforms the innocent deer we know into a killing machine. So I like the idea of, like, traumatized by the death of mom, antlers come out and just people start dying.
Yeah.
Like, people in cars start dying. People
Yeah.
walking by start dying. Winnie the Pooh shows up, helps for. See, that's where you have to actually bring characters. And I want to see Winnie the Pooh show up from
Crossover
Blood and Honey
episode.
and just
That would
off
be
someone and
good.
then leave, right? Like that. That's what we need to start seeing. Like
Well, I feel like they're definitely trying to kind of go after Disney with this, because I remember, I think it was like a few weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago, we heard about the Bambi like live action remake that Disney is doing, and they are going to be softening the death of Bambi's mother, which of course is like the most pivotal and important moment in the entire movie. Like that is,
you don't have a movie,
right? You don't have a
without
movie
it.
without
They might
that.
get rid of
Right.
the scene entirely.
Right, they might get rid of the scene entirely.
Maybe
but it-
Bambi has 2 dads. $2
Hey,
bucks.
don't give them any ideas, please, Mary.
That's totally plausible. See, now here's the other thing.
$2
And
adopt
then, and then what happens is it becomes an
The fawn,
ultimate
I mean.
crossover, and then Brett Cooper's Snow White comes in and gives somebody.
What about Brett Cooper's
that
Snow
doesn't sound
White
bad.
shoots Bambi's
Yes.
mom
I'm so
with a
down.
rifle?
I'm so down.
Yeah.
I'm so down for that.
And then skins Bambi's mom.
All right,
Makes
whoa,
her
whoa,
into venison.
and then part of her dress is the hide.
It's
Snow
just
White
covered in-
redneck.
It's just covered in blood. It looks good. I'm here for it.
I'm ready for redneck Snow White.
Yes.
I mean, I'm up for it. Why not?
All right, I am looking forward to that. Like those are the types of movies we were talking before we went on air today about the stuff that actually gets you excited to go to the theaters now. And right now, it really is stuff like the Fall Guy trailer.
Yes.
It was Bullet Train when Bullet Train came out.
The
it's
creator,
Argyle. It's
Argyle.
it's this stuff that's not the Marvel
Standalone
slop.
works
Yeah.
that come off of an interesting premise,
Right.
with a moderate budget and
There's a-
some
And the creatives
recognizable
have just
people.
gone fully into it with their vision. They know
Yeah.
what they want to do and they execute it, and that's the entertainment that we need.
There's a $20 super chat here from the last of my kind. Says, happy B-Day to my beloved Marine Corps. In 1775, Captain Samuel Nichols went to Tun Tavern, a local bar in Philadelphia, where he recruited 300 dudes that wanted to fight. They formed 2 battalions and have been eating crayons since. Yes, hoorah. And thank you for that. But yeah,
Crayola should release a color of crayon that's called Ura.
that's a fantastic idea. Well, it'd be like a shade of green, right?
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
or blue. So yeah, somebody says the bambining. Yes, there's so many things you can do with these. That would be great, and I'm ready for it. It's good. We need to get away from the. Also, all those ideas we just gave you, for the most part, they don't require the same level of CGI as the other stuff that you're seeing these days. No. And these studios don't have the money to be just shelling out. The Marvels cost like $350 million to make.
Never going to see that money again.
Same with the upcoming Snow White adaptation. Right now it's at 330, and there it's not even.
And that's just weird because it shouldn't require that much.
Oh, heck no. But that's how it is.
All right.
Hollywood.
When you won't hire actual dwarfs, you have to spend more money on making fake ones.
Because you have to recast the same people like 4 times.
What do you guys think about Zelda and Hunter Schafer? Thoughts?
Well, the fan castings have started for Princess Zelda and for Link after they announced the live-action movie being in development. And Hunter Schafer actually chimed in and was like, hey, I would like to play Zelda. And if you guys don't know, Hunter Schafer was in Euphoria. This is a trans actor.
She is
MTF.
also in the new Hunger Games.
Also in Hunger Games with Rachel Zegler as well.
Dude, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But this is the greatest thing about this strike ending is it literally ended as the 2 people you don't want talking have movies coming out. Rachel Zegler and Brie Larson. It's so good!
It is.
Like, I want them both to come together and make like a joint statement of just something really horrible.
That would be great. We hate everyone.
Like, yeah, no, not everyone's unites people. It's got to be something like that. It's got to be something like, we hate men, and then like free Palestine.
They're like female jokers at this point. They're like, fuck society.
I kind of love it. Like, I was looking at a thing the other day. Like, I'm actually starting to become so over like the Rachel Zegler stuff is so over the top that I'm almost kind of rooting for her now. What? I'm like, yes, just
you've like
keep being
horseshoe
awful.
theory all your way back to being a Zegler stan.
And I'll tell you why. So I was pointing out to Mary the other day, there's this clip where she says like where she's talking about like young girls dressing up as Snow White, and then
mind you, she didn't say young girls, she said little kids, meaning boys can dress up as Snow White too, Brett.
And she makes this face where it's like, after she says, she goes like, ugh, like she looks like having to seem happy about anything.
No,
that
she
wasn't
was
doing
like, it makes me sob my eyes out.
and I said to Mary, I'm like, this is the face of pure contempt. And then I realized maybe I've just become the villain. I've lived long enough to become
part of like a Gen Z humor thing where she wants to become a GIF that's like, it's making a self-deprecating joke. Like, it's a self-contempt thing. Like, oh, aren't I ridiculous? Like, I reacted like that when kids dressed up as Snow White.
I feel like it's very millennial humor that she's trying to like capture the essence of like the millennial cringy humor that people do.
She wants to become a GIF from The Office.
Right.
So who would you guys cast as Link?
I don't care about Legend of Zelda. I know Dane was absolutely losing his mind when I sent him the link to this article.
I don't know who I would cast, but I have also seen a lot of fan casting of Tom Holland, and I would like to say no.
Timothy
I sent Hunter Schafer. I sent the Hunter Schafer article to Dane, and he said, "Is she British?" And I said, "Not British, just trans." He said, "No effing way, dude. I'll revolt."
I'm going with Jaden Smith. I'm fan casting Jaden Smith.
You're really sticking with that.
Then the fan casting for Link was also a trans actor who is FTM. So you would have an FTM Link and an MTF Zelda. I'm like, guys, just switch places. Just switch places.
I'm saying just Jaden Smith.
I don't know. What is wrong with people?
I'm saying Jaden Smith.
Really?
And Jada can
I was thinking Zendaya would make a great Zelda.
They already did. They already did the Karate Kid with Jaden.
I think that the Karate Kid with Jaden was not as bad as everyone said it was.
She's wrong.
And I like the original Karate Kid a lot.
She's I just no. What I thought was funny about it is like he's so much younger than Ralph Macchio was when there's the scene where like Jackie Chan like grabs his arm and Jackie Chan like covers his entire upper arm with his hand. I'm like, this kid is like
tiny.
6. He's like 8 years old.
No, he wasn't. He was like 10. He was like 11
I think
or something.
He was 10 going on 6.5. He was very, very.
But then his love interest looked like she was older than him. I don't know. It was weird.
Maybe that was when we should have started to realize that things were going to go bad in Hollywood very
It was a fine movie.
It really
was. And maybe I just think that because I watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Right. And I watched another kid and I didn't realize that he was so young.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I go back and I can rewatch all of the Three Ninjas movies today, and I love every single one of them. Doesn't mean they're good movies, but they
Right,
were at
that
least
is
original.
true.
They were at least original
Yeah.
movies. My other favorite part of that being like the guy who played the bad guy, who is one of my favorite bad guy characters in history. The guy who plays Snyder never acted again after that. He just did one role, did it really, really well, and then just stopped
Yeah,
acting.
he's like, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, $20 super chat here from. What is that?
It is I.
It is I. Brett is the hottest member of the cast castle, and the intro and outro music don't fit the vibe of the show and the energy you guys bring. It's too somber for all this chaos.
Actually, you might be right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of it as like the calm
Yeah.
before the storm.
Yeah, but
It's like keep them calm, and
You
then
need
I
the
come here. I'm like, the
storm.
Marvel sucked.
you need the storm and the
Yeah.
storm and then the
Yeah.
storm.
Or maybe you use the calming one for the outro.
Right, maybe.
Like it's a calm down period.
But the old PCC music didn't fit the vibe either. That's why we changed
Do we
it.
have a vibe? What the hell is our vibe?
Is our vibe just like chaos?
That's what it is.
Pop culture chaos.
That would have been a great podcast name too. Pop culture chaos.
It's too late now. We're not going back and changing
And you don't
it.
even have to change the initials. All my signs
that's
around.
true.
Someone
True.
should reboot PCC
My
and call
signs
it
would
Pop
fit
Culture
right
Chaos.
there. Yeah. You could do
Recast us.
All right. So cast who you want there. I'm going with Jaden Smith. Let's make
I
it
don't
happen.
have any specific casting. It's a lot to be worried about. That is definitely for sure. We have seen a lot of live action adaptations over the years that unfortunately have failed. And I know that Nintendo is trying to bank on any IP they have.
Oh, I know.
And they're trying so hard to bank off of, Super Mario Brothers movie and what else can we turn into a movie, but a live action Zelda
what about
film, I don't think
Morphed
it's going to work.
Clark? Who played Galadriel.
She's too old.
She's too
Sorry.
old to play
I mean,
Zelda.
she's not old, right? She's like maybe later 20s.
And then Elliot Page
but-
as Link.
Oh, that's a
Obviously.
wonderful idea.
That's a winning.
good
Or
one.
Elliot Page is the next James Bond.
Yes, that's okay. So that's an interesting point that you make there, Mary.
Suave.
Because right now there was an article here in Yahoo Entertainment. It says James Bond producer vows the franchise won't use AI to resurrect previous 007. Says, "quote I would not disrespect them like that." That's good.
Surely.
That's good. Well, here's the thing. I was pointing out to me and Mary were talking off air yesterday. She's like, somebody asked, like, why don't they just release like new movies, but like.
Why don't they have a special streaming service that's just for new movies?
That's just,
And I'm like, that would ruin.
it was kind of one of those things
Profitability.
where it's like it's such an obvious answer. I didn't know how to explain it without it like why it wouldn't
Well,
work.
okay.
And I was like, how
When-
would MGM do it? They don't have their own streaming service. They do.
Right.
There is MGM
Right.
Plus. I don't know a single soul on earth who has it.
Yeah, not
When
me.
Black Widow did pay VOD the same week as theatrical
Yeah.
release,
It made like
did they
60
make
million on the pay VOD side alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that made up for the
Yeah.
fact that it dropped super low in the second week, right?
And the studios the theaters would boycott because then the studio gets to keep all the money from that,
Right.
whereas they have to split the money with the theaters. So when you think about it, when Black Widow came out, it made $80 million in its opening weekend at the box office. It made $60 million pay VOD. That means they made more from the pay VOD because they would have
Right.
split that box
Right.
office with the theaters.
So why don't
40
they
or
all do
50%.
that?
Right.
Because the model is the model and it works the
Yeah.
way that it works. And plus people, like, there is still a market, however small, that I don't want to watch these
Right.
movies on a small screen. I can barely stand them
Yeah.
on the big screen. I don't want to watch
Well,
CGI
yeah.
slop on the small
It
screen.
reminds me of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that just came out. They haven't given any numbers as to how well it did on Peacock, but they said
no,
it did.
It was,
Oh, they
it was the
did?
most viewed thing Peacock's ever
Well,
done.
but they
And
didn't
it's-
release actual numbers.
It was like 430. She says, I think those actors made such an enormous contributions to the film. I would not disrespect them by having them do things they did not create. The producer tells Yahoo Entertainment. Says they were talking about it because they're advertising this new 007 reality show. And I was thinking about it because I watched.
There's a 007 reality
yes.
show.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
And what does that entail?
It's like an Amazing Race type show.
Yeah.
But,
Does it
okay.
involve seducing women?
I hope so. That'd be awesome. But I remembered that there was an episode of the reboot of Hawaii Five-0 that did like a
Yes.
CGI Jack Lord, and it is the creepiest.
It is.
Did you see it?
I remember
it
that.
looks like there's a freaking corpse in this church.
I don't know what they were thinking.
And this was like
me look.
6 years
yeah, it
ago.
wasn't even that long
But
ago.
it was before. Like, I mean, this is network television. They don't have
Yeah.
the budget to make some
right.
crazy version of it. But he looks dead.
It looks so bad. Why even put it in at that point?
No.
Like, why even do that?
Like I like the idea that they want to pay respect to the previous
Right.
character, but that's just not the way you
I
go
think
about it.
that is what Ghostbusters Afterlife did so exceedingly well, was
Yeah.
paying the respects to Egon while also not like having him be in the movie or recasting him or anything like that.
And they were able to, and by making him a ghost character, they're able to
Right.
do it easier
right,
because
it's
there's
easier 'cause
elements
it doesn't
to the
need
CGI.
you don't need that accuracy with it.
I want to find out the Five Nights at Freddy's box office, or not, because we know the box office
Right,
numbers.
we do
It
know
did
the
really
box office numbers.
at Freddy's Peacock numbers.
Not all reboots are bad. Now that you mentioned Hawaii Five-0.
I love the Hawaii
That was
Five-0 movie, but I'm
that was an
a
incredible
sucker.
show.
I'm a sucker for the network
Yeah.
procedurals. So
Right.
I will always love. Plus Scott
But
Conn.
with the drone shots of the volcanoes
Yeah.
and everything.
I mean, it's a beautiful location, and
Yeah,
they
of
filmed
course.
and they filmed it in Hawaii, so it's a beautiful location to
yeah.
film and stuff like that. And I love Scott Conn.
Yeah.
Especially when that was like the only of the celebrity deaths that really, like, James Caan
Yeah.
died like last year or something like that. And I was thinking about it because I've been watching this old show with James Woods. I'm like, when we lose these guys, when you lose John Voight, when you lose James Woods, oh my gosh, they're all Jims. When you lose all these guys, like we're kind of losing this whole era in Hollywood.
Right.
Like, I mean, even Robert De Niro. I might think Robert De Niro is an absolute loon, but he's a fantastic actor.
Oh, right.
He's he lost his lawsuit.
Wait, what?
He was being sued for gender discrimination by a lady who used to work for him.
didn't even know that.
And
Oh.
like they're like, he didn't lose the lawsuit, but his company has to pay the lady $1.26 million. I'm like, so he lost the lawsuit.
Lost the lawsuit.
yeah.
But he's not
They're
found
settling out
personally
of
liable.
court?
No, like it was voted. It was adjudicated in her favor, but it was his company that's found liable, not him.
Okay, whatever.
So it's it says Five Nights at Freddy's Peacock viewership is revealed, and it's just as astonishing as its box office. This is from Screen Rant, ladies and gentlemen. So take with that information what you will. So I'm scrolling and I'm looking for hard numbers here, and it doesn't look like it's giving me the most watched series on the streaming service within the first 5 days of its time on the platform. I mean, that's not hard numbers, though.
Right. That's what I was trying to say is
Yeah.
I didn't see any hard numbers, and they could have released them at this point.
Yeah.
But I have been following it, relatively
How did you feel
closely.
about it? Did you like it?
It was not bad.
No.
It was not great either. It was a movie that I would recommend to people, definitely, that like Five Nights at Freddy's, because there's a lot of Easter eggs and little tidbits of lore. But I feel like it did not explain things the way it
No,
could
it
have for
didn't.
the normies, for
Yeah.
people who don't know the video games at all.
The criminal underuse of Matthew Lillard in that film will
It
go.
was so sad.
well, it might be because you have to pay him more.
No, he signed on for 3
Right?
movies.
Yeah.
He signed on to do 3 movies, so they should have
Right.
theoretically been able to get him
Well,
for more than just
it also
the scenes they had.
needed more jump scares because that's literally what the video game is based on. And
Yeah.
it needs a montage scene where Josh Hutcherson gets all geared up
Yeah.
and ready to fight the animatronics.
Right.
And there was no suspense. It was not exciting. It didn't make me anxious to watch. It
Right.
was just not really.
It's because they kiddified it. They
Yeah.
tried to make it for the younger
Which is
audience
weird,
that's
'cause, like,
going.
the
and-
FNAF audience already grew up.
Right. They
They're
already
adults
grew
now.
up. And there are still plenty of kids that play Five Nights at Freddy's, but they know what they're playing. So they're used to things like jump scares. Like that doesn't scare them now. So to think, oh, well, that could scare the younger audience that might be brought in by it, but they've already played the video games. That's why they're coming to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odd choices.
Yep. So, so James Bond, it looks like they're not going to do that to the character. And it wouldn't make sense in that world anyway.
Right.
It wouldn't. Like,
You're
where,
very angry
they
at
would,
just the idea.
well, where would they do, like, how would they do that? There's no storyline in which
right.
a real world spy would interact in such a way. with previous versions of his character. This isn't
multiverse.
I guess
the M word.
I guess if I get in trouble, if everyone can be mad at me for suggesting Jaden Smith for Zelda, then I guess it's fair that people can ruin the stuff I don't want ruined.
You deserve it.
It's my own fault. That's fair enough. That's fine. All right, who would you guys have play Elon Musk in a biopic? Because apparently there is going to be an Elon Musk biopic in the works at A24 with Darren Aronofsky set to direct.
It's weird that he's directing it because I don't really want the same vibe as The Whale and Requiem for a Dream in an Elon Musk biopic.
It just doesn't.
Also, stop making biopics about people who aren't dead. Such a stupid idea. Such a cash grab.
Yes.
I think they should just make what they should do is they should make it into like what was the movie like the guy with all the kids.
Wait, what?
The big, not Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but...
I was going to say Nick Cannon.
No, but like it should just be about him in his breeding. That's what it should be about. It should just be a movie about his all his
what
kids.
I want is like a full soap opera of baby mama drama and no business, no technical stuff.
At the end, they're like, oh, and he owns a company.
Yeah, he owns Tesla or whatever. Like,
I think my casting is Jim Carrey.
Hey, that's.
Imagine him sitting at 2 a.m. in his room.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Putting up the controversial tweets, and then the
but Jim
shareholders
Carrey
calling him.
Is
What
too
are you
ideological
doing?
to play him honestly. That's the problem. Most people in Hollywood are too ideological to play Elon Musk without making him a cartoon villain.
Right. But
somebody suggested Denzel. I like it.
Yeah. Elon would be like, fuck yeah. Like, that's a great idea. Elon would love to get race swapped. He is African after all.
Yes. I'm down for this. I'll make a list later. I can see a couple actors in my mind.
They all hate him though.
Yeah.
Well, that's
like,
the problem.
Right?
Who would take it that could do the job well?
Cheaper by the dozen. Thank you. We need cheaper by the dozen, but it needs to be about Elon Musk and his kids. That's that. Thank you.
That would require one.
Thank
wife.
you, Daniel, in the chat. That's I would love that. Also, like the other thing about it is if they make it like if it is Jim Carrey, he has to do it in the vein of like Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Like,
just super exaggerated faces.
They're like, oh my gosh, Twitter's tearing down the world. He's like, oh,
it's him putting up all of the controversial tweets and like, I just put $50 billion into this because I felt like it. It's him sitting in a jacuzzi with like
Mike Myers?
3 of his baby mamas at his side.
Mike Myers?
Mike Myers is an interesting idea. That would be good.
Because there's actually a little bit of facial resemblance, not too much, but he's a character actor, whatever.
Then who plays Joe Rogan in the movie? We gotta find somebody to play Joe Rogan.
He's 60, so he's a little older. On the older side.
Or you just have it be done with AI. He'd probably be fine with
De-age
that.
him a little bit, put on some good makeup and prosthetics, and you're solid.
And he's like, look, I will put a Neuralink in you that will make you act just like me.
I actually think Mike Myers would play such a good Elon Musk now that I'm thinking about it.
I don't think he'd be bad.
It wouldn't be bad. I'd be excited.
They'll end up casting. It'll be Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They'll make Joseph Gordon-Levitt do it. They're like, look, he was already Snowden. We'll make him be Elon Musk too. They'll do that.
Yep.
All right.
Trick pony.
And did you guys see this story? So we used to do a segment here called Chet Formations. It was where I gave you.
Oh, he's a friend of the show.
I would give you.
For sure.
Words of wisdom that Chet Hanks, the lovable Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, would give the world on his Instagram. Well, he's back in the news, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently he punched an intruder in the face last night. Can't be armed in California, so that's the real problem is no Second Amendment rights. It says Chet Hanks must defend his house, and he'll do it with his bare fist. Apparently some guy broke in at 3 a.m, and he just socked the dude, and then the police arrested the guy, and then when the guy was like, it took him forever to like get this guy in cuffs.
He was fighting the cops.
Yeah, and then like the guy fell over and broke a cop's leg.
Yeah.
On the
then
way
they
back.
both had like neighboring hospital rooms, I'm guessing.
Yes, they're in the bed next to each other in the ER. It's just the criminal is like handcuffed.
But can you imagine like a better situation for F around and find out?
Right.
I love it.
Absolute Chad move.
Chet didn't even need to have a gun.
No.
He's just like, catch these hands, bitch.
It's like two-way, more like two fists. Like that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. This is my favorite part of the day.
It is.
As they know.
It is.
I wonder when the next time we have Ian on, if he will like recognize his own voice in that.
Maybe.
I don't
Probably
know
not.
I don't think he'll remember it. He won't remember it.
Chet's last post on Instagram was just a picture of him standing there in his usual fit, which is the black skinny jeans, the black shirt that's backwards snapback, and the caption just says "Get ready." And
does mean?
Someone said, "What should I be ready for?" Nothing.
Oh, the chat says Dwayne Johnson as Rogan. There you go. The Rock can play can play Joe Rogan.
Why not?
That's
Full
perfect.
circle moment.
Look, it's gonna be great. If Chet Hanks was in the movie, I'd cast Jai Courtney as Chet Hanks. I would. They kind of look a little bit
But
similar.
Chet is an actor.
Yes. Well, he can't play himself though. Like,
Right.
He'd have to fund that movie to play himself. Wait, no. Madonna was like she was gonna fund her own
Yeah, she was gonna
documentary about her.
fund it.
It'd be funnier if she played herself though.
She should.
She should.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know what? I am 100% down.
All right. This was a funny story. A cop pulled a gun on an officer who threatened to spoil Top Gun Maverick for him, and now he's got 100 hours of community service, which isn't that much. Like that's I thought they weren't even allowed to own weapons in Australia, but I guess he's a cop, so he must have one. It says
Top Gun Maverick.
a police officer in Sydney, Australia, has pleaded guilty to quote carrying a firearm with disregard for a colleague's safety. That's outside the quotes there. After he threatened to shoot another officer who said he would reveal spoilers from Top Gun Maverick. According to court documents, 30-year-old Dominic Gaynor took out his gun and pointed it in his vicinity. Fellow officer Morgan Royston after Royston threatened to spoil the film. Like, I wonder what the fight was about, where he's just like
It literally says, quote, "I'll spoil it for you." And he responded saying, "Don't spoil the movie. I'll shoot you."
You know,
completely
I feel like
behavior.
between American cops, it would just be like, you're so funny. Like, it would be nothing.
If he pulled
But
the
in
gun?
Australia, they are way more sensitive
Right.
about guns.
Yeah.
So this turned into a whole
all
case.
for Top Gun Maverick.
Hey, I love Top Gun Maverick.
Damn.
It's
It's a good movie.
It's fantastic. It's like, what is it? Spoiler: the good guys win.
Yep.
Oh, the guy who had the gun pointed at him is being like a Melvin about it. He's like, "I've completely lost the trust I had and my admiration for the NSW police force.
Of course.
When I see a police officer now, I feel compelled to watch them and check their hand is not on their firearm."
Oh my gosh! It'd be funnier if the other guy had like a chat response. He's
Okay.
like, "Look, my finger never went inside the trigger guard. He was not in danger at all.
Right.
It's completely fine." Yeah, that's
Wow,
I wonder how that would
wow.
happen. Here in America, he'd have just shot.
He fell into depression following the incident.
Depression.
I smell a lawsuit coming.
Yeah,
come on,
He's
guy.
shooting for that early
Yep.
retirement
He
with a
is.
full pension. Yeah.
Left him with overwhelming shock and fear.
Oh,
Doesn't,
the grief.
Doesn't
Maybe you shouldn't spoil movies.
doesn't
learned
that
your
feel like a
lesson now.
lifetime ago though? Top Gun Maverick feels like a
It
lifetime
really
ago.
does.
Like it wasn't that. I mean, it was
Feels
a
like
year
it's
ago.
as old as Top Gun.
Yes, 1980s.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. It's forever ago.
It's a timeless
Yeah.
movie.
Also, whatever you're doing, guys, I know this isn't necessarily completely pop culture related. Don't be Kmart. Did you know Kmart is still a thing? Well, they have a
It is?
product on sale that got pulled. It says Marry Hamas.
No, Brett. Okay, it says Mary Ham mess.
It was. Where the hell was the
Quality
the
control.
quality control people? Here, folks.
They'd never heard of Hamas before. You can't blame them.
Like, look, clearly the bags would have probably been made before everything
Right.
happened, but it doesn't mean it didn't take time before it made it to market.
But now
Some
I want the little drawstring bag. Like I like it's a collector's item now.
And also, Kmart? Do
Yeah.
you still have Kmart's out by you?
No.
I've never I think I might have seen a
don't-
Kmart once in my life.
I
I
mean,
used to go to Kmart when I was younger, when I was a wee little lad, but
like,
Lassie.
Kmart's are
Yeah,
great.
Lassie.
Like, if you're looking to buy drugs, outside of
Drugs.
Wait,
outside of a Kmart is a
That went-
fantastic place
are
to
you
look.
telling
That
us
went in a
that
very
that for a fact you have purchased drugs outside of a Kmart?
No, I have not.
Now
We'll neither confirm nor deny.
Now we need a Photoshop of Brett standing outside of a Kmart, like with a jacket, like, "Hey, kid, you want to buy something?"
I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that. Oh, by the way, this was in Australia too. So it's like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on over there in Australia?
It's a big country / continent. Okay.
But yeah, like, so apparently they must still have Kmart there. But I just imagine the funny part is, like, this is when it's the best time to be like the low level employee who's like laughing as these are being put out. He's like, what the hell? Like that doesn't seem right. And then like the one upset employee comes by and is really triggered by it, and then it's hilarious.
So funny. Terrorism.
And I don't think we had, and I figured that's cringe. I figured that's cringe of the day today because that's cringy.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
I do have a couple of cute of the days here. The first is from Kyle Dix. Oh, we did that one yesterday. We did that one yesterday. Where did it go?
No free clout for your dog.
Yep. Here we go. This is from Julia. She said,
we also saw this one before.
Oh, a bunch of mine got deleted.
The cute of the day is going to have to be Captain Marvel's cat.
No,
that's the only cute.
Actually, the funny thing about that is like when I was watching them, like, how did they do it so right in the Argyle trailer, but so crappy in the other one? It doesn't really make any sense. This was I knew I had it.
Oh, we got one from Bucky Ducky here.
Yeah. It says, say hello to our rooster, Polly. He is not nearly as friendly as the ducks, but he's cool though.
Hi, Polly.
Polly's great. Let's hold on. I wonder if him and Roberto Jr. would get along.
Majestic.
And is that? The eyes are crazy though.
Is this what he was like so desperate to get you to reply to on Twitter, or
I don't know.
Was it something else?
But I got you, Bucky Ducky. We got this. Very cute. All right. All right, guys.
Her name.
Say no more, guys. It's time to get started. If you are ready, ladies, we are just going to get right into it. Here it is. We went and we watched The Marvels, all three of us at different theaters. That's how dedicated we are to you guys, the audience.
We deployed into the local area.
The team scattered.
And completed a mission.
Exactly. So we went and saw The Marvels last night. I'm sure people are going to wonder like what everyone has to say about it.
I actually just almost had a heart attack. It has an 85% audience score.
They're fake. If you start clicking, all of the reviews that are being left are new accounts.
I mean, I don't even know if I can. Like, I don't even care. Like, at this point, people who love Marvel are going to love it anyway, so I actually kind of believe it.
I see a lot of verified audience scores that are high scores.
And if you start clicking them, a lot of these
How are they verified?
So Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. But unintended consequences see Carol shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. If only they had been able to figure out a way to make that seem clear in the story. With her duties sent to her as an anomalous wormhole linked to the Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with that of Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, Captain Monica Rambeau.
Woo. Before the movie, my Alamo Drafthouse was playing old videos of Brie Larson's failed music career from 2005. As well as some random YouTuber's homework video about all of the Marvel TV shows that you should have watched before watching the Marvels to understand it, which is why I didn't understand shit about this movie and I didn't appreciate it at all.
I'll give it one positive. I think Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is the only good part of this movie, and there's a simple reason for that.
The only tolerable part?
Everybody acts like a child, but she's actually a child, so the humor actually works. What they see here is you see the dead corpse of what could be a great movie if you actually allowed the other characters to take what's going on seriously and not finish every sentence with a joke, and then use Kamala Khan as the vector point to inject humor into it, which like eases out the tone and makes it more tolerable for anyone. Instead, what you get is literally no chemistry the movie. I've never seen three lead actors with less chemistry with one another. Every scene they're in together, they look like they would rather be anywhere else but hanging out with each other.
For Brie, it's actually true. Yes. She doesn't want to do this role anymore.
Well, right. She's come out and said that like she's over it. She's done with it.
Like, the only thing that works is Kamala Khan and her family, but that's not this movie. So what you see is like, look, nobody cares about the rest of the characters.
I felt like her family, it became a little bit too much by the
Towards
end. Like,
the end, yeah.
right, they
Yeah.
were really, really shoving them into as many scenes as possible, which I understand that was the whole Miss Marvel show, which, by the way, now, guys, I've watched twice because I watched it again over the past few days. Unfortunately, I've gone through double the torture. But it's like you have, you know, Carol and then Monica in their relationship, and that's the heartfelt. But then Miss Marvel, Kamala needed hers, which is her family. So they really had to find a way to put them in there. But it was just too much by the end.
And everyone gets along all the time. That's the big problem I have. There's no conflict. There's no conflict whatsoever. You get a little bit of conflict between Monica and Carol Danvers, which is then just washed away almost instantly once they're back on Carol's ship. And here's the problem. Towards the end of the movie, we are going to be revealing spoilers. I don't give a crap. We're not making a spoiler for, a second video about this. If the sacrifice made by the end of the film had been done after a movie's worth of tension and disagreements between two characters, it would have actually landed.
Right.
But it doesn't land because everyone's hunky-dory, happy
They
all the
should have
time.
not
They're all
made
yes
up.
queen slaying all the time.
Yep.
Before Monica Rambeau goes to the other universe or whatever, they shouldn't have made up their their conflict. And also, I think that Captain Marvel should have never been nice and buddy with Kamala Khan.
No,
like,
not at all.
She should have been like, maybe had one moment where she was like, "You're all right, kid."
At the end.
And then she should have shot herself into the sun and not come out on the other end.
Well, don't forget it towards the beginning when Captain Marvel meets Miss Marvel, they are arguing because like Kamala wants to save as many people as possible.
Then
and
they're like,
she's
"I'm
trying
so
to
sorry
use the
that I
powers.
treated
No,
you
that
like
was
that.
that was a
Right.
great idea
You
right
delicate
there.
It was
little
a good
snowflake.
idea, a poor execution.
I'm saying that was a great idea that they didn't actually fill out to be like, you can actually grow that character much more by the end of the movie if you allow the stakes to matter and they don't just make it back to the ship and suddenly
goes,
it's girls'
you're
night
right.
and they're having a and
They're
having
like
a
giving each
sleepover.
other
Dance
pedicures
battle.
and having a pillow fight. But like Kamala Khan should have never gotten any affirmation from her idol and watched her idol sacrifice her own life. And then gone back to Earth traumatized and messed up from it.
Like the scene,
That would have actually been
She needed
a good
her
story.
hopes and dreams crushed.
and I'll tell you what. So the big
Or am I just a sadist for Marvel
No, I
characters
definitely
at this
think
point?
that she needed a bit of a crushing there.
Yeah.
the lady,
Definitely.
the scene where they're all, so basically the big MacGuffin parts of the story is like every time one of them uses their powers, they switch places with one of the other of the three characters because they all have light-based powers or whatever, right? So if you have a scene where nobody's getting along and they keep swapping while trying to figure out their powers, there's an interesting idea there.
They could
Instead, it's
sabotage
like,
each other.
Yes. Look, everyone knows that on this channel, I am the soft critic, okay? I'm usually more than willing to give most movies the benefit of the doubt. Half the time a movie doesn't even have to make sense to me. Like, as long as I leave in a good mood, I don't really care. Nothing in this movie does that to you. The bad guy, Darban, is literally a charisma vacuum. It's one of the least interesting characters I've ever seen in my entire life.
Address Nick Fury and how he was so buck broken that he might as well have not been in this movie.
Black girl magic.
Yeah, the black girl magic comment to Monica Rambeau. He might as well have not been in this movie. He had no active role in this movie. There were no men that had any active roles in this movie.
The only thing he did was call Captain Marvel and been like, "What do you do and want to go run an errand for
Like
me?"
FaceTimes her from his bedroom or something.
I went and rewatched Civil War recently, and the lengths to which Nick Fury has fallen in the MCU is almost shocking.
It's tragic.
And I'm like, why would Samuel L. Jackson even embarrass himself with this career he has by attaching himself to this franchise, which is dying?
Yeah, I mean, money.
We got a $20 one from Philip Reed. I was flipping bricks with Mensa Muse before you were even a Type 1 civilization.
Okay. I can't even deal with this right now. We have to get back on track here. So Fury is cucked. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. The other thing here
Brett's still angry.
I'm still angry. There's a $50 super chat here from Riley Lewin. Says YouTube ate the last $50 super chat, so hopefully you guys get the full 100. Merry very early Christmas. Thank you, and I hope that they
hope you didn't get your money stolen.
Yeah, I hope,
Hopefully
because we didn't. So I hope they
YouTube.
didn't take that from you, dude, because that's absolutely ridiculous.
Someone said that Samuel L. Jackson went woke and sold out.
It's I don't know if I also understand that how they look at the creation of their projects is different than how the people who watch it take it, right? Like even here, right? People who watch this podcast see it very differently than we do as the people who make it. I'm not faulting him for staying in the timeline and making more of the movies. That's fine. But I do wish that maybe they treated him with a little bit more respect and treated the character with a little bit more respect.
That's the problem, is that this movie was just devoid of any masculinity, and Samuel L. Jackson was basically there as kind of a punching bag so that he could make a couple jokes, do a little funny, but that was it.
Yeah.
And it's so sad.
The musical sequence filled me with homicidal rage.
Gosh.
It was
Can't we just
awful.
pretend that didn't happen?
Like, is this a Disney movie?
No,
I mean, it is a Disney movie, but is it a Disney princess movie?
Right.
Technically, we've gotten like previous experience with this because of the Eternals did their.
I didn't watch that,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yes,
so.
the Eternals did their own version of that, which was somehow less
I feel like
awful.
musicals are just the thing now. Recently, I live streamed Alan Wake, which was a 13-year sequel in the making.
Yeah.
And it had the cringiest, like, 20-minute chapter that was just a full musical. It was so bad. Why do we need musicals in content that's supposed to be serious? Like,
Keep
it's
the genres separate.
Yeah, it's a psychological horror game. Why do we have a musical?
And I understand that meta humor is now the case du jour for this franchise.
Yeah.
But seeing a character, like, this is the thing I always go back to. I don't want to see characters excited about being superheroes.
Yeah. I want them to just be like, oh, I'm a superhero.
It's my job.
Right.
It's my job. Like, when there's a scene where Carol puts on Crocs, I almost left the theater. It was like 5 minutes into the movie.
Tie-dye Crocs.
Crocs on a spaceship. I'm like, this is going to be every bit as bad as you imagine.
Tie-dye Crocs.
Here's the thing. But every character, it's not just women getting along. Everybody gets along and is cutesy all the time. That's not, you're watching worlds get torn apart. There would be at least some nervous conflict between people. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like Hollywood writers writing characters in a writer's room, not characters that they actually have put themselves into the shoes of and imagine what it would be like in their world. The bad guy was it sounded like an infomercial when she would talk. It was extremely it was awful. It was disturbingly bad, and that is almost the most praise I can give it is that it's not worse than that.
Well, it's like in the movie they tried to make Captain Marvel the disliked character because she's the annihilator, and oh my gosh, everyone around the galaxy hates her. But then you have this villain who is doing things in order to save her planet, so they're trying to make the villain look like a good guy. And this is like a running theme with Disney lately. Like in Wish, they have the villain now singing about how, oh, I let you live here for rent free and I take care of all your needs. Like, why can't villains be villains anymore?
They're not allowed.
But also because she's a woman. So
there's a scene at the end where Darben's trapped and they're like, maybe we'll help her save her planet. I'm like, no!
Right.
Just kill her. That's your job. Your job is to end the threat right now, or at least put her in jail. Do not get her up and be like, let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Let's fix it.
That's not what you do.
This is a fundamental difference between how I think men and women see these genres, right? I don't know if this is a gendered issue, but it feels that way.
A gendered issue.
That a guy wouldn't write a story like this way.
I mean, I'm a woman and I wouldn't write a story this way.
Put her in space jail.
There's so many things that they could do.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And so the sacrifice from Rambeau at the end feels completely unearned. None of it seems to matter. And worse than that, like, I think that it's the line at the end when they recruit Hawk Girl is what kind of encapsulates the biggest problem I have with this world, which is you have the makings of what could be halfway decent, semi-serious science fiction.
Right.
Meaning when Nick Fury in at the end of Iron Man comes to recruit Tony Stark, it's a call to action that's taken extremely seriously. In this, it's a call to action, but then please join us. Like you denigrate the material and you denigrate the seriousness of your projects when you refuse to take anything seriously at all. I'm not saying it needs to be dour, the whole thing. No. I'm saying that you can use that character. You could have used Kamala Khan as the humorous relief through most of the movie and have her find a more serious tone by the end and keep that serious tone. That would have been
great.
And keep that serious tone into the recruitment of Hawk Girl. Yeah. And it feels like the character is now not just like none of these characters ever feel like all of these life-ending threats ever change them fundamentally at all.
And you'd think that it would. Like,
and it doesn't.
Your house just got completely obliterated by these bad guys, and you literally just lost everything. But it's okay.
Not Hawk Girl, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yeah.
Sorry, guys. The point being that you get what I'm saying. That it completely ruins it. Yeah. Right? Hawk Girl. That'd be great if they brought in Hawk Girl and Hawkman. Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
That would be.
Look, it had none of the, like, I'm not saying you have to make it the most serious movie in the entire world.
Right, no.
But it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
was there anything that like you had like a fix that you said you would have done?
Did I?
With what you would have done as far as the sacrifice of Monica Rambeau? And,
she should have like died somehow. Captain Marvel should have died when she launched herself into the sun to reignite it, even though that was a stupid side quest. And they should have traumatized Kamala Khan. Yeah. What else? I'm puzzled by the tone of Marvel movies in general because it's like you're living in this universe where everyone knows that superheroes exist and that there are all these supernatural and sci-fi like events happening in the like in I don't know, like
it's like normal.
But people are just kind of like working at Starbucks and like living their lives like everything's normal, even though like this blip happened, which I barely understand, which would have completely collapsed any society. Yeah. And they're just kind of like, whatever.
They actually
like, I don't know. I don't get. You know what I mean?
They actually now that I think about it, Hawkeye the TV show might have been a better example of how to do somewhat serious, because they still managed to make Clint a fairly like depressed character through the run of that show, right? Clint is good in that show, and they seem to pass the character off very, very well. And you don't need all of these movies to be fun and games all the time when there's world-ending threats.
Well, that's another issue that I have entirely with Marvel at this point, is that it's gone on so long and we have so many characters. When we're talking about other planets and in parallel universes, that's one thing. Like, oh, Captain Marvel's doing something on this other planet. That's crazy. When you start having a villain who's trying to absorb the sun, don't you think that characters like Doctor Strange and Thor would be like, well, that's actually kind of important and we should probably pay attention to what's going on. Like, none of those big characters showing up is just such a problem for me at this point.
Yeah.
Superheroes are treated like CIA agents in this movie.
Yeah, I just and the other reason that I think that it's as bad as it is I'm kind of your target audience for something like this, which is like, I don't need it to make a whole ton of sense. I don't need it to be like, I'm not the person who harps heavily on continuity errors. I can go into a Marvel movie or a franchise a little bit in, and as long as the project itself, this one, is entertaining start to finish and there's some type of conclusion by the end, I'm fine with it. And there's just none of that in this. There's there's no stakes whatsoever. Nobody ever seems worried. They tried to pull an emotional performance out of Brie Larson.
They did.
That didn't really land.
Called her wooden.
I don't. It didn't land for me. Like that. Like if you have less knowledge of her, like of her acting, it might actually work because it might play as traumatized.
To have an emotional moment, you need to have emotions. Yeah. Sorry, Brie, you don't have them.
It could play as traumatized for some people, but I don't know if that's what it is.
Right.
But everybody's quips all the time. Nobody takes it. Like, nobody takes any of the dialogue seriously. What is to allow, and if it's going to be humor that people are looking for, the only laughter that I heard in the theater that I went had to do with Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
People found her generally humorous and amusing.
Yeah.
And Monica Rambeau, it felt like she was just there.
Yeah, she was just kind of
like
there.
she was an exposition dump for science. She's scientific exposition dump the character.
Science that doesn't make sense, by the way. But
and it's just, and at an hour and 45 minutes, it felt like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I was like,
me.
this movie's got to be done soon. This movie's got to be done soon. It felt too long, even though it's a relatively short film.
Yeah. I thought when they were talking about like reality, like collapsing in on itself, that Doctor Strange was going to come.
They should have done something. I know they don't want to pay for cameos and they don't want to put
He'd cost a fortune. Like Benedict Cumberbatch would cost a fortune.
But when you have a story where like someone is trying to absorb the sun, that's when you have to start bringing these bigger characters in, like Thor, like...
And what you're looking at, like Nick Fury's on a space military base and everyone talks like they're in college.
Right.
It's not, it doesn't work.
And Bree's quip in the movie, like... To Fury, you're creating a very negative environment right now. Yeah. It's just so bad.
The only character I liked was the husband on the other planet. Bring him back. He was fine.
The metrosexual
K-pop star. Yes, bring him back. He was fine.
Who doesn't know English in real life?
Yes. Yeah. So don't go see it. It's a 0 out of 10 for me. It's
but good on Brie for staying skinny and cute.
she's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. And if I was to make, like, I would have rather they had done Miss Marvel as a movie and let her have a hero, like a full length, a movie length hero's journey that isn't like exposition, one action scenes an episode. I would have rather seen her become a hero in a full length film where her tone actually works, rather than see a bunch of other characters exist with her tone that just makes you ask, why are the adults talking like the teenager? That doesn't make any sense.
Right, especially when you've got an adult who's trying to... At times, Captain Marvel tries to act like an adult, and she's like talking down to her, but she still makes the same type of jokes. So it's like she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah. Yep. There's just a lot of ways. It felt as if they needed like a secondary voice who wasn't one of the main writers to come in and be like, does this really work here?
Right.
In a lot of the dialogue parts. Like the part where Carol is suddenly friends with these girls doesn't really fit the character.
No, like...
It's because, like, if it was a dude, she'd be standoffish and weird. But because it's girl power, I guess it's whatever. Don't go see it. It's not worth seeing. Trust me, there are plenty of people who will make many reviews that you will find. And go look for ones that are positive. Go look for ones that are positive. If they can articulate to you what it is that they like about it,
great movie,
go with
awesome
God,
film.
I guess. That's fine. I don't care. Like there are going to be people who definitely like this movie. But it's just, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was just a fail all around, and not one I will be forcing myself to ever rewatch.
$300 million. I don't know where it went for this. There was this really bad shot of like Nick Fury looking at the sun that just, it was the most green screen shot I've ever seen in my entire life.
I thought some of it visually looked okay. Like the planets looked okay. Like the suns looked okay.
The costumes were cheap looking too.
The Skrulls look like Power Rangers villains.
The putties.
They look so bad.
They kind of do.
It didn't
It all
work.
went to Goose and the cats.
Yes.
That's where the CGI went, the tentacles.
Oh, that was, you guys lost it at the dance scene. That was like, it was beyond parody, and I was warned of it ahead of time, so I steeled myself for the dance number. When it came out, I was actually, the Beastie Boys montage before that was worse for me. I was like, oh look,
that one was
they're
tough.
all hanging out and friends. It's
We're
a slumber
hanging
party in
out.
the middle of space war.
Yep.
Just no.
They're like, thank God those refugees are gone. Let's party.
Just no thank you. All right.
Okay.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, thank goodness y'all survived the Marvels. On a side note, I wish Dane was here to tell us his opinion of the Zelda casting. Well, it's not finalized yet. They haven't actually cast Hunter Schafer.
No, it's
Hopefully
just fan casts by the people online that are very loud that already want to be listened to, so they have to start as early as possible.
Dick Dickerson said, just put a chick in it and make it gay.
Yep.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, okay, so during the review, she's like, and I'm married. And then, like, that whole thing just felt weird. Where she's like, she's got a husband on another planet.
Her face is on all these platters.
And,
marriage is just a piece of paper, Brett.
yes, apparently. There's no sanctity in marriage for Brie Larson's for Carol Danvers.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
She was over it.
Gore said, ask Vara about her violin, her poor traumatized sister, and the Jaws theme.
No, the Jaws theme. It's
What
a
is
story
this?
It's a story I told long ago. My niece is a couple years younger than me, and I would traumatize her when she went into the bath by playing the Jaws theme on the violin. And she has not watched Jaws again to this day. She was traumatized.
It's really not that scary.
But she was like 6 years old, so it's forever traumatized by Jaws.
Let's do one more.
Said, damn, Mary went hard on Snow White killing Bambi's mom. I approve.
Yes, that was
I got
good.
a little too into it.
You got very passionate there.
Let's do one more.
Marco said, but should Link have dialogue or nah? Dane seemed to say no.
No, but I think that it would be much harder in a movie. That's the problem.
There's a $20 one from Ronnie Kennedy. Says Samuel L. Jackson went from Nick Fury to Nick Furry.
True.
Yeah, it's very true. Look, just go back and rewatch the old Marvel movies. It's so much better. Let's just go ahead and do that. But we're not done with Marvel news, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
believe it or not. We're not even done with Marvel's
away.
news. So there was a Twitter post that went fairly viral recently that says, it's really interesting to me that it's all men who are actively hating on the Marvels. The movie isn't perfect. Read my review for my thoughts, but it doesn't deserve the hate many men are giving it.
Of course, it's always the men.
Again, I do want to point out that, like, for the most part, I'm very lenient with most movies. I kind of take the approach because I don't even think about it as like a review. For me, it's that phrase. It's like you're not going to remember, like, you don't remember what people say. You remember how people made you feel. Right? How a movie makes me feel when I leave the theater is almost everything to me. Like, I can forgive the continuity errors. I can forgive a lot, but it takes a special type of sauce to put it all together and catch both emotional resonance and tell a good story. It's not an easy thing to do, and it is more than just men who are complaining about this movie. I understand that what this is a preemptive strike to label everyone who doesn't like this movie completely as a bad person. I think that's lazy. I think it's unfair to everything that I pointed out to you has little to do with the fact that these are women. I almost said that these women have vaginas, but even that you gotta ask questions about these days. You gotta ask questions, it's like that news article that says, like, imagine going to college for 4 years for journalism to end up writing a headline that says her testicles. The point being that I have no problem. The best character in this movie was Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan, who a lot of people dislike on principle because they don't like Miss Marvel, the character. I thought she was great in this movie, but that's because the characterization of her made perfect sense. None of the other characterization of any of the other characters felt like it made any sense. That has nothing to do with their gender. That has to do with bad writing. I don't know if the people who wrote this movie are women, but I'm assuming it is.
It is a mostly female team behind the camera because
and decidedly a female director as well.
Yep, who only ever had one movie under her belt before she got this, which was the failed Candyman reboot.
That's one of my bigger problems right now is giving gazillion-dollar properties to people with like 4 credits to their name.
In this case, one.
In this case, one. Well, Nia DaCosta was a producer, though, I think, before that,
She was a producer, but even then, she hadn't done that much.
So I enjoyed Andy Signor's response. He says, boo, Tessa, don't generalize all men. Not all men, he says. Some of us just see the movie for what it is. Disney desperately shoveling cameos, bright colors, and lazy storytelling for characters that deserve better. Making up culture war here makes you no better than the sexist. Nobody cares about, like, if this was a movie called The Menvels and they were all dudes and it was this shitty, it would still be bad.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. 100%.
It makes no sense to make that argument, but this is what's going to happen.
I didn't care for Ant-Man Quantumania.
Exactly.
What does that have to do with his race or his gender?
Right.
One reply said, men loved Wonder Woman, though. So, like, clearly they're capable of enjoying female
Men love Black Widow, the character, even if they didn't like Black Widow, the movie.
She said, that's not even remotely the point.
But it is the
and
point.
That's what the reply said next. You're implying men hate it because they're women, but there are a lot of women-led movies men and love. The Marvels is just a terrible movie like Captain Marvel, but unlike last time, Disney can't inflate the numbers again. She said, I don't know what terrible means. No, not my point at all. I'm one of the fresh ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at the rotten ratings. Mostly men, mostly white men. At the critics screening last night, multiple men had their mind made up, complaining about watching it before it even started. So what?
I went into this, like, we go into these movies completely like, look, one of the things I actually love, I love it when something proves me wrong.
Okay.
Like when I go into something and think it's going to be mediocre. Thank you.
Thanks.
I love to be proven wrong. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Well, also the primary audience for films in the superhero genre are men anyway. So that's going to be the majority of the reviews, positive and negative.
Right.
Like,
But
I
they
don't know, it
just
doesn't make
cannot
sense.
deal with not bringing, race and gender into it. So they have to find some way to bring it up.
I mean, didn't a lot of people have seen, there have been movies that have proven people wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a male feminist who's groveling here in the replies. As a man myself, I feel embarrassed and sad.
I'm embarrassed.
As a fan of the character for 25 years, I could never hate or hope for another movie to fail. They are killing the superhero genre. No, Marvel is killing the superhero genre.
Nobody wants to see the movie fail. If anything, why would I want to spend money for something to not like?
Right.
I want to see stuff that I do like.
Right.
Right? Like we've actually brought this up before. Like a lot of people will talk about hate watching and hate reviewing. I don't have the patience. We watched. I lost years on my life because of Velma and Rings of Power. Like I don't want to do that shit. I want to be impressed and I want to be taken aback by something that I think could be bad but turns out good.
I think I always knew Velma was going to be bad, but Rings of Power, I didn't want it to be bad. Who would want a Lord of the Rings project to come out and be bad?
I didn't want it to exist.
Well, right.
I'm happy to admit
it shouldn't
that.
have existed in the first place.
And like, in a sense, I want Marvel movies to fail because I need them to learn their lesson and to correct course.
But it'd be great if they did just correct course.
Yeah.
If they said after this, we're going to correct course, we're going to make things better, we're going to try to listen to our consumers. And unfortunately, they are facing now, well, unfortunately for them, it's good for us that they're facing loss after loss after loss, so much money that maybe now they will finally, but it's also Disney and they wait till the very last minute to change things and to try to at least look like they're righting their wrongs.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a shield to protect themselves from the criticism, which ends up it puts people in an even worse position. Because then you're like, look, I don't want to hate what you're making. I want you to impress me.
Right.
And like in an hour and 45 minutes, this movie had that going for it. Like I was like, what if this is like a short, sweet, fun movie?
Right.
I'm down with that.
It didn't have to be hard and heavy all the time, and it didn't have to even be amazing. But if it was at least good, it's short enough where it's like, yeah, you know what? I'll recommend it.
Like for most of this stuff, like I'm not somebody that feels like you need to lean into things being awful just to make content.
Yeah, no.
It works because some people are very like, I'm not good enough at articulating what I hate about stuff for that to even work, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather tell you what I love about something.
Right.
Like I was looking for anything in that movie that I like, and I found it.
Yeah.
I found it with Kamala Khan. I said, that's fine. But the problem is that she doesn't make up enough of the movie to justify giving it a higher rating. Granted, I gave it a 0, but it's in blaming white people and blaming men. First of all, it's disrespectful to women because it's saying that they're not, like, I guess their opinion is somehow less valid, or is she just ignoring the reviews from women that clearly don't seem to like it?
Of course she is, because it doesn't fit her narrative. So she's got to ignore those ones, because then it would be like, oh my God, there's women that don't like it too. Well, then I guess I can't, blame it on gender.
And the other thing here is like, look, you laugh all the way to the bank when you make a movie for the people that it's actually the demographic for. The reason this doesn't work, you can go to Barbie made $1 gazillion because it's a movie made by women for women.
Right.
So even all the men who gave it bad press didn't stop it from making a bunch of money.
But even this, it's like
you're making a movie that used to be predominantly a genre for boys for women. And then you wonder why the guys who are still trying to watch these movies don't like it. It's not because they're guys. It's because you're just not making a movie that appeals to anyone.
Well, right, because it's like, we've got 2 women right here who didn't like the movie, and it's not because we hate our gender and we hate women, even though people love to say that to me all the time. You just hate women. That's why you criticize these. Oh yeah, I get it all the time. My internalized misogyny is coming out. Everyone can see it now. But it's like, I used to love the MCU. I've seen every single MCU project, and I've watched so many of them multiple times. The issue isn't that there's women in the lead. It's just that it's poor writing, it's poor characters, it's poor casting for the most part. Like, it's just problem after problem after problem. It's not just because men hate it, that's why it's getting review bombed. No, it's getting tanked in score because people don't like it.
I want to see a return to form, which requires at least a little bit more focus on a slightly more serious tone. Like that's. I'm not saying it needs to be hard drama all the time.
Iron Man ones back.
Yes, you need Iron Man and you need early Captain America tone back for it to actually work.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you don't get to the light until the very end of the movie.
And it's funny because we didn't even talk about the cameo, or like the post credit scene, which references X-Men and X-Men 2. Right? X2. Yeah. If you go back and you watch the old X-Men movies, you'll be shocked at how few jokes are in them.
Yeah.
There's almost no. It's not super serious the whole time, but it's not filled with quirky, that's so clever humor the whole movie.
Right. Like Thor, Love and Thunder, like the Marvels. Like, we just need, I understand completely, like, in even, Iron Man 1 in 2008, that had jokes. There was humor, but it wasn't humor that it was beating you off the head with it.
The problem is that Robert Downey Jr. does that very, very well.
He does.
And then they try to adapt that to every character, and not every actor can do that.
Right.
And again,
Chris Hemsworth has done a really good job with it, but we see how Love and Thunder went.
Yeah. It's so funny how his movies are at like the bottom of the review. Like, he's like the longest running solo film. Like, he's had the most solo films now, right?
Really?
At 4, yeah. It was like,
yeah.
Or is it 5 now?
Yeah.
It's 4? It's 4 now.
Yeah.
So, and his are consistently rated down towards the bottom, but everybody loves him as that character.
Right. And also, of course, one very obvious issue with the quality of the MCU is the message, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, they weren't pushing a message. They were pushing good entertainment. And now that is their number one focus, is pushing the message, which of course the Marvels is filled with because it's a lot of women. The lead characters are women. Then you have the King of Asgard, Valkyrie, who's a woman. And
it also feels like it kind of like they do themselves a disservice by making all, like, they could have made the bad guy like just a tough looking, like, let her husband be the bad. Granted, the actor was not exactly, he was like, that guy was a wet rag, that guy was awful, but like, get a better actor and make a bad, there, you can make it an evil guy. I'm cool with that. Have an evil guy who actually seems like a threat in there, and
evil power couple.
Yeah,
why not?
That would be great.
That would be great. Having a male and a female that are both equally evil.
Instead, we got Jada and Will in the movie, and their own version of Red Table Talk when they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the sun back.
Yeah,
it was really bad, and it's just everyone knows that this is exactly what was going to come when this movie was made. It's built into the media apparatus to be able to turn it around on people. And it also means it's not just going to be that men hated it. It's going to be that it was review bombed.
Right.
And then I'll point this out because I mentioned this earlier on the show. It's like, you would wonder why somebody making a movie like this would feel, why anyone would feel like there would be some type of animosity towards the fans or something like this. But when we watched the original trailer for this, I pointed out that the song Intergalactic, which works perfectly for this film because it's in space, has the line, "Don't tell me to smile," which is literally in this movie. And this was an article that came out today. It says the Marvel's creators said that they mostly ignored sexist trolls, but the filmmakers couldn't resist one jab referencing that. If you go into making your movie with snark, cynicism, and a combative attitude towards the fans, you lose everything.
Yes.
You lose passion. More than anything, you lose the love for the art form that people latch onto. When I go see a movie, when I went and watched The Creator, I watched a guy make a movie on $80 million. It looked like it cost $300 million, but it clearly looked like a movie this dude wanted to make. It's a story this dude wanted to tell. When you watch any adaptation, like what's an adaptation that you really, really like of something? People love One Piece, right? Because they feel that One Piece went into it with love and affection for the actual
it wasn't
source
100%,
material.
but they definitely tried. And a lot of the people behind the project we're extremely passionate and, wanting to make something for the fans.
And by honoring the source material, you honor the fans who loved that work. Right? There's none of that in this. It's callous, it's cold, it's disconnected from humanity. It's not art in the sense of creating for the sake of joy and create. It's not making art for the sake of joy and creation. It's art to own the incels.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's who goes into something and wants to see that. Who wants to be taken down to that level and feel that sort of just awful negative attitude towards the world. I don't want to go spend money to go do stuff like that.
I don't think many people do.
And it's just like maybe that's why I feel that Kamala Khan works so well, is because as annoying as her character might be to some people, it felt honest and it felt real, whereas everybody else felt like they were being created to just make everybody else mad.
Well, right.
So I don't know. I could be 100% wrong on all this stuff. Like I said, like I tend to go into to movies. I'm like, I want to see something that makes me feel emotional when watching a movie. I don't look at it from a hyper analytical standpoint. You'll notice most of our critiques weren't about the CGI, which tends to be a large scale problem with most of Marvel, right? Storytelling a little bit, but for the most part, you can get over that with storytelling that pays homage to the work beyond just Easter eggs.
And unfortunately, they did not do that here. They did like the worst job possible between the characters that they highlighted. I'm not a fan of the Marvels as a group. And of course, Brie Larson just has left such a bad taste in people's mouths when it comes to her character, and then it kind of transfers over to this project.
See, that didn't do that to me. Like I don't feel any animosity towards Brie Larson when I watch this movie as Brie Larson. I have animosity towards the way the story is portrayed.
Right, because she still is portrayed the way that she was in the first movie, and it's not great.
Yeah. It's just there's just so much that could be done. I don't think that they're going to change any of this.
I liked Kamala in it. I know that you said that you did as well, but she is a character that was only created to check boxes, which is the problem with her. But that's why they're using her now.
Because she fits the demographic makeup that they want.
Right, of course.
But doesn't that kind of prove the point where if like the one character you like in a movie is the one that checks the boxes, that you're not going into it with awful intentions?
Well, right.
I want to like all the characters.
I'm not a Marvel fan. I didn't read comic books as a kid, so how could I say what Marvel fans want? But just logically thinking about it, most of the Marvel fans are men, right? Yeah. So why is it such an outlandish idea that the majority of the films should center around men who are aspirational figures for their audience, or at least an ensemble cast with strong masculine characters, not Gen Z minority teen girls who are screaming about everything?
Yeah.
How is that relatable for the audience that
it's not.
have?
I have ended the poll. I asked everyone today, I said, are you going to see the Marvels? 91% say hell no.
Yeah.
So far, the young Marvels are Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, and Cassie Lang.
Kate Bishop would be a better leader than the others. I think.
Where are the males?
Haley.
They'll probably put like one in, unless they want to do an all-female new Avengers.
Yeah.
So we're getting young Avengers, right? At some point. Ugh, I can't.
That's their next kind of build up.
It would be like, what if they made like a more serious adult Avengers, and then the kids just have to get the crappy fun tone, but then they actually let the adults be the adults?
Yeah, I mean, if you had the what people want, if you were at least giving them that, then sure, go ahead and do all these spin-offs that might be busts in the end, which
Yeah.
of course we see now that they are, as long as we're still getting majority content that does appeal to the audience.
Yeah, and they're rushing to adapt the stories that are part of all new Marvel,
Yeah.
right? From like those like the early 2000s and stuff like that.
Well, right.
In the same way that DC rushed to do the New 52.
Yeah.
For their television show and stuff like that, because it scales back and allows them to do the alternate versions that play on the younger characters, right? So we got a $20 super chat here from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet. Right? It says, "Hey Earthlings, my oldest came off the bus and can you read this, Mary? I can't. It keeps moving on me.
My oldest came off the bus and a little orange kitten followed her to the spaceship. Looks like we have space gingerbread now. I guess I need to create a Twix to show off her hippity hoppity feet."
The cat, like it really was the cat. All the cats on the spaceship really felt like the biggest fu to like serious sci-fi
It did.
cinema.
Now-
like it's like the only way they could have made it worse is if they like pan
Yeah.
to Nick Fury and he's drinking boxed wine. Like, but it feels like they do it because they're marketing towards the female demographic.
Right. Well, that's the problem is,
What do women
look
like?
Look
Kittens.
Right. Look at Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy. The Force is female. Well, that has bled into Marvel, and they think the Force is female. The Avengers, the future Avengers are female, and this is the direction we want to go in, and it's clearly not working. And all you're doing by having all of these, like this movie, this female-centric cast that is making jokes, like, you're really creating a negative space right now, and then the cat lady jokes. It's
Correct me if I'm wrong,
so
but like
forced.
ordinary women, just the average woman on the street, doesn't give a crap about Marvel or any superhero.
I don't know what
franchise.
they're. I don't know what they're. I don't know what their
now
demographic is.
think they do.
I do think that there are a lot more maybe women now that care, but the women that used to care still care.
They
and
spent
so
their money
They
on
were happy watching the
tickets to
Iron
Barbie.
Mans and the Captain Marvels. I mean, the Captain Americas and the Iron Mans and the Thors. They were happy paying to see those movies, so you don't need to
Yeah.
make something specifically to appeal to them when they were happy with that content originally.
There's still, like, I didn't get the gender breakdown, but they're saying 40% of the Marvel audience is millennial. So if that is true, their humor plays right to it.
Right.
The humor, like the storytelling of like the old 20th Century Fox X-Men movies probably appealed more to Gen X. Right?
Yeah.
Like to that generation of people. Or Blade
Yeah.
even would have appealed to that generation of people. Maybe it's because I'm an older millennial. I'm basically almost Gen X. So maybe that's just why the sensibilities, like there's literally a graphic on, like she has one of her comic drawings that says yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. And I
Yikes.
saw it and I'm just like,
It's like in the
but even then, it would have been worse. It could have been worse, I guess. It could have been on Captain Marvel's wall. That would have been weird.
It's like recently Starfield came out and there's this mug in the game that's like, I'm a strong effing woman and I won't apologize. It's like, it's something small, but all of those small things add up.
Yeah. And again, that's something that's done in the tone of take that, you incels.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we're using this multi-gazillion-dollar company as a soapbox to tell you to F off, which I guess I can almost, like, that's almost impressive. Like, that the company's that stupid and you're that petty. Like, I guess, whatever. There's a $20 one here from That's Dancetastic. Says, orange dono, orange hair. We embrace Magavember in this house. Haven't watched anything Marvel in so long. If I want entertainment, I watch. I'm guessing you mean AOT.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. Okay, I thought it said AOS at first. I was like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was good. No matter how much Mary. So Mary hates Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Well, they make a
do?
female beast for X-Woman. Remember when they were going to get rid of X-Men and it was going to be X people or X mutants
X-Mixin.
Yeah, it was gonna be like X them or something.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Attack on Titan.
There was a really bad sci-fi television sci-fi show that went for like 13 episodes called Mutant X back in like the early 2000s. It's so bad. I think I'm gonna watch it this weekend because it's still better than what we watched yesterday. It really was.
Honestly, it's a very low bar. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
I think the Marvels is going to help a lot of guys get through No Nut November.
It's so true.
They go home, they're like, I just can't right now.
Ooh, that's. I'm gonna need a week off.
Like, okay, so somebody needs to make a skit where it's like a husband, because there was a couple right in front of me. Guy went with his girlfriend, and they're going home, and the guy's just really angry, and the wife's really into it, and he's like, look, not right now, okay?
I mean, you've gotten pretty passionate about the Marvels movies, so are you gonna be watching that once a week for the next 4 weeks?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to do. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and I would rather rewatch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what I'll do. I'll in fact, it could be worse. You could be watching the Inhumans TV show. Did you ever watch the Inhumans?
I did.
Yes.
I didn't. I mean, it wasn't good.
The sets look like styrofoam.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah. All right. Somebody says, negative YouTube says Mutant X is great. It's like nonstop music video. I got to go rewatch it, man. So, one of the great things, there's this great sweet spot for television shows. I'm not going to say which ones, because then they'll go, like, YouTube will then take it down. There's a lot of shows where they've like ended up in the void where they're not on any streaming services. They're not on any pay VODs. So sad. But a lot of those end up on YouTube.
Right.
Like,
that is true.
All of the X-Files spinoff, The Lone Gunman, is on YouTube to watch. And shows like that, because like they're like, nobody owns the rights to it, so there's nobody to copyright, I guess, and have it removed. So
yeah, I guess take the wins where you can.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Isaac Martinez said, hey, Brett, Mary, and Vera. I hope you're all doing well. Have you heard of the movie Napoleon or seen the trailers? Can't wait for it.
So good. I am a period piece girly.
Are you?
I am a period piece girly, and it looks good. There are some inaccuracies so far. I know that a lot of people are a little bit upset by Josephine, but it looks good so far.
What don't they like?
I don't know.
Josephine?
People were like kind of uppity about Vanessa Kirby being cast as her. I think Vanessa Kirby's a fantastic actress. I know that they were talking about her potentially being in the new Fantastic Four. She was one of the speculations. A lot of people just think that she's a little too pretty for the way that, you know, the original woman, the historical figure.
That's awesome.
looks.
I want Hollywood to have a too pretty problem, not a too ugly problem.
Yeah.
Also, they should make Jaden Smith Napoleon. I'm now just going to suggest Jaden Smith for all roles other than Jaden Smith. Like,
should we review Napoleon? I wasn't thinking of it.
When does it even come out at this point? I don't remember the exact
Pretty
date.
soon.
Yeah, I think it's like next month, because I think it's like a right before Christmas movie, I believe.
They can do, what was the one that they race swapped on TV? The character that Anne Boleyn?
Yeah.
They can have have Black Napoleon and Black Anne Boleyn and Black Cleopatra.
Yeah.
And we'll have the Jaden Smith cinematic universe. And
You're really focused on that today, aren't you?
And he'll play all of them.
Did something happen that you need to talk about?
No, nothing happened.
Phantasmagoria, Megoria, I hope I said that right, said, at this point, I'm just waiting on Dune 2.
Yeah, like, I didn't hate Dune either. Like, a lot of people thought it was boring, but like when the Marvels can hit the cinematography that Denis Villeneuve can, then we'll talk. But they're not going to match that. And that's the other thing.
No.
Here's another thing to think about. So I talked to some people who didn't like Dune, right?
Yeah.
Fine, whatever. They're like, oh, it's boring. I'm like, yes, but it took itself seriously.
It did.
So every time you go see a Marvel movie, remember, when you go see a Dune movie, you're like, oh, that's kind of boring. I'm like, yes, but what are they quipping every 5 seconds? No, they weren't. It's like, house what? And then they make they crack a joke somewhere. Don't do that. You can make movies. You can still make movies seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Hiroshima Otaru said Jaden doesn't even do karate in Karate Kid. I mean, I don't know anything about karate. It could be, for all I know.
Didn't he like run up the Great Wall of China?
Something like that.
I think he ran up the. The funny thing is, when I saw that, I was like, I'm almost positive like that's how the movie was pitched. Like,
probably, yeah.
They're like, and then the helicopter flies by, and then there's Jackie Chan, and he's at the top of the wall, and he's like motioning him to get there, and then the camera pans by, and like Jaden's like his legs are like this big, so it's taking him like an hour to get up the damn.
When are we gonna get the movie of the people who crashed their truck into the Great Wall of China and left a giant hole in it so they could drive to work through it every day? When are we gonna get that movie?
We got a $20 one from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet. Here's my controversial take. Jaden Smith as Tarzan. Ouch.
He's not big enough. He's gonna have to grow his hair, straighten his hair. It's not gonna happen.
They'll have to whitewash
But
him.
I'd still be happy with that. I'd still be happy with it. He could be Caesar from from Planet of the Apes. I'd be down for that too. I'm to play every character. He could be Homer Simpson. We can make
With the help of AI, anything is possible.
Well, that is true.
Jaden Smith's cinematic universe.
I want Jaden Smith to play every character from now on. and Willow can play all the other characters.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. There you
And
go.
then they'll all get made too because Will's got all the money to get these movies produced.
True.
Disco Jensen said, "Enjoy the weekend and happy Veterans Day." You do. DCNC said, "Brett, is your hat giving us the finger, bro? Catch me outside."
No,
It kinda does
This is
look
the this is the old logo for the Seattle Mariners.
Okay.
So
X said, "High energy electronica intro power chords." This is the vibe we're going for.
we need to get somebody to maybe we can get Phil in on that to make that. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. So guys, we've got more good news today. Man, this is just a day where we're all
More
coming
good
off.
news? Has there been a lot of good news
We're
today?
coming off very
After the Marvels?
misogynistic. We're coming off very misogynistic today, guys. Jezebel has closed its doors. How do you feel about that?
I hope Kotaku's next.
After 16 long years, Jezebel has shut down because they couldn't find any buyers. Nobody wanted them. They're owned by the same company as Kotaku and AV Club and The Onion, a lot of other
Kotaku
rags.
next.
Look, here's the thing. Like, we got a $20 super chat here from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet, Son of Tarzan. That was a movie, right? They made like a Son of Tarzan
yeah.
sequel, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
I'm just imagining like the next people that rent out that office are gonna go like open a desk drawer and see just the craziest vibrator. Just see like the craziest dildo in every Jezebel journalist's desk that they left behind.
What a
Like, what the hell is all that buzzing?
image.
Like,
They
go
couldn't afford it.
Jezebel and Feminist Frequency down this year. We are winning.
And Vice doing all those
Yeah.
layoffs, the shutdown of BuzzFeed News. Like, it's a reckoning
I'll
for all of
take
these
it.
people that were running it in the 2010s.
Yeah.
We should do a thing
over for them.
where we fridge them. We should do a fridging story, like where it's like it's a woman, like it's a guy's wife in a Jezebel. Fridging is a trope that feminists hate, where female characters are killed to be the male character's call to action,
Yeah.
and it was
Okay.
called
Yeah.
fridging. So we need to put Feminist Frequency and Jezebel in the fridge.
See you later.
It'll be Anita Sarkeesian's call to action. So she can
Anita
start feminist,
Sarkeesian. What a name.
like feminist Jezebel.
She'll
Jezebel
probably
Frequency.
try. She'll probably try again one day.
Yeah. Look,
I was sadder about the shutdown of Omegle the other day than I am about
believe it.
Jezebel.
It was so bizarre. I was like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
That happened. The Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement happened. It was a crazy day for news.
You know that famous article from 2007 that's been making the rounds on Twix again about the women bragging about beating up their
Have you ever
boyfriends?
beat
Yep.
up a boyfriend? Yeah, this is literally the title of it. I hope this is satire from
that's the thing.
Jezebel.
I don't know if it is. It's not labeled satire.
It's called "Have you ever beat up a boyfriend?" Because we have.
Like, if it's actual satire, it actually it's kind of funny. It's just not as well done as some other satire. But the problem is people cut out the clips of it, and then it becomes like people are like, "Look at this! She's beating up her boyfriend because he's got breast cancer." Like, that was the part where I'm like, "Is this real?"
Yeah.
It says, according to a study of relationships that engage in non-reciprocal violence, a whopping 70% are perpetrated by women. So basically that means girls are beating up their BFs and husbands and the dudes aren't fighting back.
Now that's power.
With Amy Winehouse busting open a can of whoop ass on her husband last week, we decided to conduct an informal survey
ridiculous.
of the Jezebels to see who's gotten violent with their man.
Like,
and it was
it's
everybody
fake.
in the Jezebel office.
It's fake. The whole article's got to be.
yeah.
But here's
Because
the
one
problem.
Jezebel got into it with the dude while they were breaking up. Another Jez went nuts on her guy and began violently shoving him. One of your editors heard her boyfriend flirting on the phone with another girl, so she slapped the phone out of his hands and hit him in the face, partially open-handed. Another editor slapped a guy when, quote, he told me he thought he had breast cancer. That's a little bizarre. Lastly, one punched a steady in the face and broke his glasses
reason for that,
because
Mary,
he
is-
discovered
One punch
a
woman.
sex story she was writing about another dude on her laptop and picked it up and threw it.
To be fair, Mary, like
He was totally asking for it.
the amount of women with testicular cancer was way lower then than it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More men
True.
get breast cancer than women get testicular cancer.
I mean, maybe not anymore, but
At least in 2007.
in 2007, it would have been a much different ratio.
This was one they forgot to archive on their website.
Yep.
This is just nice to see. It's good news.
Like, and why is it that you think that? Here's the thing: why do you think that these types of sites fail? Like, is it because like they just never get out of the phase where they're in the like investment capital? Like it's all investment capital from these firms, and there's very little in the way. Like I guess it's also the medium. Like,
Right.
are people like beyond hate? Like, hate watching may be a thing, but hate reading is a thing too, right? Hate
definitely.
reading is a big thing.
Oh, yeah,
But I
definitely.
don't know if they can really translate that to, because ad revenue is so sparse now.
Right.
Like, ad rates on websites are tanking.
Well, it's like sites like Kotaku. They are they pump out so many hate bait articles, and I'm guessing that that's like the only way that they're staying alive at this point, because a click is still a click. Like, they do still put out like guides and reviews, but look at titles like Hogwarts Legacy. These news sites refuse to cover it because JK and the evil history and the dark past of Harry Potter, but they still put out like 10 articles trashing it, but they knew that they were going to get clicks because people were upset about it.
Yeah. And like, I don't even have it in me. Like, I don't go trolling the Mary Sue for content. I don't, like, it goes back to what I was saying before. I don't want to just read stuff that makes me angry because it makes for good content.
Oh, right.
That's not
I
do. Mary loves it.
I
don't.
personally, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that it's hilarious to dunk on these activist journos who think that they're better than everybody else.
They do think
Thank
they're better.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I asked for a fourth. I would like a fourth. I would like a fourth crisis party. Harry, it's funny you mentioned Harry Potter is one of those litmus tests for how terminally online you are, because the average person still loves Harry Potter and they know nothing about the fact that
Absolutely. They're like, JK? People
also-
don't like her now?
I do want to point out that I do think that she kind of jumped the shark when she's like, I'd go to jail for my beliefs. I'm like,
Well,
would you really?
She wouldn't.
I was like, I think
probably
you
would.
would. I was like, did you see Jenna Ellis when they convicted her against Trump? Like, she was
I'm
crying,
picturing J.K.
like,
Rowling in a knitting circle in prison with Ghislaine Maxwell
and Martha Stewart's
and,
there too.
and Martha Stewart.
It's the Martha Stewart wing of the
And Elizabeth
the low security
Holmes.
of the low security prison. Right?
love it.
Like, it's just I didn't buy that when she said that.
Yeah,
Like, that's
no, I
literally
agree.
talking tough on the internet.
I agree, but
What did Brittany Martinez say?
Yeah, she said someone somewhere thought, hey, you know who's a great idol for women? Jezebel. She was an Old Testament whore who manipulated a king and nation into worshiping the demon Baal, and then was thrown out of a tower by eunuchs, trampled to death by horses, and eaten by wild dogs. Let's name our publication after her. Investors, yes, queen! And Brittany Martinez is the founder of Evie magazine, which is kind of the anti-Jezebel for a conservative female audience, but it casts a wider net than that. And Jezebel has hated on Evie magazine in the past, but
of course.
sore losers, right?
Maybe what we can do is we can get the heads of Jezebel and we can get them together with Anita Sarkeesian and they can start a new business venture.
Well, ironically, they pointed out that
no.
Jezebel's
It
former
would.
editor-in-chief said she was mistreated by the company that owned them. She said, I've reluctantly resigned from Jezebel because the company that owned us refused to treat my staff with basic human decency. I will love and support my writers till the end and am grateful I got to shepherd this site through the end of Roe.
Do you think this is also, is this a woman thing? Like a guy's just going to leave and move on to the next job and not really think
Woman's
about
going
it?
to take it personally.
Yeah, like they understand that, like, even if they were necessarily mistreated, like they understand that nothing is going to come from complaining about it, so they just don't even bother.
I think they'll still complain just to complain.
It always just seems like one of those things where you're better off just because then you get labeled as difficult to work with.
Well, right.
And
That
then-
is true.
and that's a problem.
But if you're trying to get hired by a similar organization that
Yeah.
praises the modern day feminism that they're pushing, then
Yeah.
It might end up working out better for them.
I just never understood the way in which these sites did I mean, I understood how they made their money back in the day before social media became as popular as it is now, right? But a lot of it is like they have a hard time transitioning over to other spaces.
Right.
Like they it's like when they try to make it, like they try to move to like live content or try to make videos and stuff. Like the worst is like if you ever watched like the Marvel podcasts on like the Marvel website, it's hell on earth. It is. It is hell on earth. It is like literally every minute feels like I went through like severe pill withdrawal, like opiate withdrawal for like 3 weeks. It felt about the same as watching like the intro to like a Marvel website podcast with what's her name? Not Anita Sarkeesian, with Sana Amanat in them. Like,
remember in the 2010s when BuzzFeed on YouTube kind of had a chokehold on younger audiences, making videos like, you know, I went manspreading on public transportation for a day. Here's what happened.
Yeah, and
that indoctrinated a lot of Gen Z and millennials into feminism. But I think that in a way, that type of feminism, that like pop culturally relevant feminism, has fallen out of fashion because it's no longer edgy. It's the status quo, and every publication is peddling it. So if your entire publication is in that niche, you're going to have a smaller audience.
Because the Wall Street Journal has their own feminist section now.
They have their own abortion beat. So they have their own, everything that you have, they can do it better. But they're still laying off their employees.
What is the new feminism that people like then? What is the new edgy feminism?
Is it Barbie feminism?
I guess.
I saw people reposting the America Ferrera monologue recently.
People were have been pretty obsessed with Barbie.
The monologue got reposted because people are like, this is so uncreative. This is like feminism 101. It's entry level feminism. It's not intersectional enough. Blah blah blah.
It's never good enough for them.
It's not good enough.
It's always a problem.
But then these other absolute freaks were like, no, it's good that it's entry-level feminism because it's for the little 10-year-old girls that we're going to indoctrinate with our movie. It's perfect to bring them on board. And I'm like, you're a demon.
A good general rule is if you have something to say and it sounds like it should be said with your fingers doing this, it's not good.
That's not good. Red flag.
Like
they literally embody the evil witch from Snow White, which is why they cannot comprehend portraying that character in an honest way.
Right.
A virtuous princess.
Women can't be evil now.
If your words sound like the sky behind you is going to turn red and the angle is going to change to high or to low to look at you like this, then you're probably saying something kind of evil.
True. Yeah.
Right? I just and these websites are going to keep going out of sight now as technology changes.
We're going to live to see the end of Mary Sue. For sure.
I hope so. Cross my heart and hope to die.
And when and if this podcast goes off the air, they're welcome to make fun of me too. We'll see who goes longer, I suppose. But the thing is if it does, I won't know because I don't read their content, so it won't matter.
True.
But if they decide to dunk, they're dunking in a forest that's empty, so nobody's going to know whether it made a sound or not.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I also I understand because this type of divisive these types of divisive talking points do work. It's one of the reasons why I try to, like, even with the stuff we cover, right? Like, I want to be as fair as possible. I don't want to give the least charitable interpretation to everything that we cover. Like, when I watch a movie that's absolutely awful, I want to find at least one thing about it that I enjoy. I don't want to see the world through this black and white lens where everybody who sees the world just a little bit differently than me is somehow an enemy. But that type of content is always going to do very, very well. It's why the red pill content does so well. It's why dating podcasts do so well. It's why humor related to the sexes does as well as it does. Because being inherently inflammatory towards a larger group based on your own problems and world experience, it resonates with people. Yeah. The problem is that even if you're making it as a joke for a lot of people take it seriously. It's like when they repost this article here where they're talking about beating up their boyfriends. We don't know whether they were serious or not. I lean towards that being satire.
It seemed like satire.
It seems like
right.
satire, but the problem is taken out of context. People were like, "Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever," and it's not really that. It's satire. Good satire is actually a beautiful thing, but when all of these are done through the genres that are designed to break us apart rather than bring us together, I guess that's just, it's not hard to imagine why those sites do as well as they do, but they end up having a shelf life as technology changes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they should have been on Omegle.
I can't believe that shut down.
They can go to chat roulette.
I'm so bizarre.
I've never used any of these.
Rip to an era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever use it?
Yeah, when I was younger. It was like a sleepover, like, you go on this stupid website.
So what did you do? Like Mary was saying, what did you say you did? Like you
You type in an interest, so you put in like politics or
Right.
something. You debate with people about
Right.
politics.
But you specifically said like you'd argue with people.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
stuff.
you can argue with people.
yeah. Some people just go on there to insult people.
Yeah.
What would you argue with people about?
It would be like Call of Duty, Xbox Live, trash talk lobbies.
Oh,
like, you're a
perfect.
stupid idiot.
Yes. Oh, that's odd. I mean, with harsher
You have an
words
awful
than that.
poster on your wall.
With worse. I saw this great meme the other day. It said like these are the kids in Call of Duty calling you the N-word, and it's just a boys choir. it's just a boys choir.
I miss
from a
those
school.
days of Xbox Live.
You know, that was a different time to
It
be
was
alive.
a different time.
Different time to be alive. Or have you ever seen the skit where the guy, like, he shows up and the mom's like, "This is my new boyfriend," and it's a guy who got beat by this kid in Call of Duty like years ago, and he like worked to find out
And
who
then
this
he's like,
kid was.
yeah,
He's like,
you remember me. And then
me.
he says his gamer tag. Smashbox 41. Does that ring a bell? I just effed your mom.
Incredible. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Grofty said testing, and then he said $5 for 500 likes on the like button.
We are, that'd be a lot,
we
wouldn't
at?
it? Like, we're at 332, guys. Let's get those likes up there, shall we? Can we do that?
Huh? I'm not gonna say that. Username said Idris Elba as Elon Musk.
Yes,
That
let's
might work.
go! Keep the accent.
I still want Mike Myers. Geeky James 62 said, "Wow, Vara, seeing you here on PCC is a dream come true. You fit in with Mary and Brett so well."
It is my third time on.
Yeah.
You've missed a couple beats.
Yeah, go back and watch those episodes after this.
True.
Also, happy Veterans Day to my fellow Air Force vets.
Also, people will have to do that. And happy Veterans Day.
Yeah.
But also, like, somebody's like, "Oh, like, I saw this clip from this old episode," and they'll, like, send me a link because they want me to look at something. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not looking at. I was like, "Am I in it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, I'm not." No.
I agree.
Do you ever watch anything you've?
No.
No.
No, it's like, kind of like once it's there, it's there.
Gone. Like there will be times.
I have to block it out of my memory.
Like there are times when Mary's like adding the chapter markers, and I can hear my voice, and I'm like, and I'm literally,
You actually cry out
Yep.
in pain.
I'm like, make it stop. Like literally,
agree.
Literally, if this was Hell Week and I was being tortured, it would be against the Geneva.
That's why I don't
Convention.
edit clips
It'd
with
be
you around.
watching other people watching your content.
Yes.
That is the worst.
That might be the most terrifying concept in the entire world.
Yes.
Like even if it's good, like even if they like it, it's awful.
Right.
Like just no, please never.
Exactly.
Yes.
OrganizedBusinessServices.com said, Brett and Mary, I'll send you a pic of a 22-year-old dog.
Please do.
Sure. Just tag us on Twix.
I really hope Riley did. I hope that they did not just take his other $50 super chat.
It would be
Hopefully
you
it was
too.
a glitch. Jacob Edler said, compare costumes from Miss Marvel versus the Marvels. Oof.
Another thing that people don't really realize with costumes is a lot of it comes down to how well the scene is lit and
right,
color graded. Like a mediocre costume can be fixed by good lighting and good color grading, which can it's one of the reasons that people have such a problem with modern high fantasy is like the all their outfits always look too clean.
Yeah.
Even though they're out traipsing through the woods in all of their robes look like they were just like taken out of a laundromat and just dropped on the actor.
For the main three, the costumes were pretty good in the Marvels, but the other, like the side characters, they were just awful. Like Dar-Ben was basically wearing like a bathrobe.
Yeah.
And then you had the characters on the musical planet, Hala, or no, that one's
And
not
again,
Hala.
I think that's because
And it
because
just
the
looks-
lighting.
Yeah.
It's
It just looks
bright.
terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's the line where he's like, "Use your scarf."
Yep.
Get
use your
it?
scarf.
It's a scarf weapon, guys.
Yep. And she looks at
Chicks
it like,
dig
what?
scarves.
Scarves.
JA said, "Hi crew, I caught you guys live. Brett, have you seen The Expanse?"
I have not. I need to watch The Expanse, and I need to watch Dark. There's a lot of shows that I
You
need
still
to
haven't
watch.
watched Dark?
I still haven't watched Dark.
Oh my god, Brett, how could you do this to me? That hurts my soul. Dark is such an amazing series.
That was like the most disappointed somebody sounded in me in
Come
so
on,
long.
Brett.
Like that actually made me miss my mom being. My mom used to be disappointed in me in that same voice.
That honestly makes me sad.
That
makes me sad. You need to watch it as soon as possible.
I was at one point it was like which way Western Man, and it was watch Hellbound or Dark, and I ended up watching Hellbound. And then the other problem is that Netflix now for me doesn't work. Like whenever I log in, whenever I try to put something on, it works for about 4 minutes and then it freezes and stops.
Why?
I have no clue. So I just got rid of it.
Dark is
like I
amazing.
tried to watch One Piece like 4 times and it just wouldn't work. I'm
We
like,
got
I'm not
a
watching this on my
$20
phone.
from Pat the Plumber said, "Orange chat for the darling with orange hair."
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Let's get her a 4th crisis party for her orange hair. And was it always orange? It was reddish.
I mean, it's not naturally.
Is this
neon
natural?
orange?
I've had my hair orange for many, many years now. So.
Like, there was like in some
I mean,
of your
the
old
shade
thumbnails,
slightly changes. Yeah.
Like
it
in your old
slightly
thumbnails,
changes. It used to
looked
be
kinda
much
red.
more red, right? But it's been more orange for a while now.
In the old thumbnails, it looked a little red.
Yeah.
That Stanzatastic said, "For episode 500, will you all go back and watch an old episode to see how well it aged?"
Yes, you should.
Also,
yes. For the
since-
5th crisis party,
I
he
honestly,
will.
I would do it. Brett doesn't want to do it.
He'll do it.
He
look,
said, also, since Asmongold does reaction content, maybe react to their react, so he'll react to your reaction.
It's a reaction chain.
So it's Inception,
Yes.
but reaction.
No, we
Look,
should totally do that. Unfortunately, the footage of our test episode before I started here is not available. That would be really cringe.
I can tell you how we could do it. I'm gonna take the day off, and I'm gonna.
You're just not going to be here for episode 500.
I'm gonna just skip.
Oh, guys, I'm really sick today, and I wouldn't want to miss this for the world. But unfortunately, it's just I have to do something.
It would be so good, though. We should do
would.
that.
It would not.
Come on.
It would
Look,
not.
let's come up with a crisis
on.
party wager, okay?
I'm not doing this.
Come on.
10 crisis
Peer
party.
pressure.
Do I
Peer
get
pressure.
do I get to pick the episode?
It has to be old.
I'm just like 4.89. I'm like
No. It has to be old. They said specifically old. So guys, 10 crisis parties for episode 500, and we will react to an old episode. I'm open to doing this. Brett is going to be in extreme pain.
You could react to every episode 100. And then
wait,
you'd have to do
maybe,
5, but
React to episode 200?
I'll think about it.
No, we need to go back further.
No.
so like 50.
Just I wasn't on 50
just-
actually.
Maybe 200.
Maybe
Maybe.
250. Go 250 then.
The crisis
I like
feature
that.
has
I
already
like
been
that.
set.
It's right in the middle.
I like that. 250 is like the halfway
It's
point.
cringy,
So
but also maybe not as cringy as
I'm just
possible.
I can't.
We gotta go further
Come on,
back.
Brett.
It's so awful.
You got the black girl magic in you.
This is
You
actually
gotta use
why.
it.
This is why I will never be able to like do more. Like because people are like other people who work in this space. They like post social media clips of stuff from their shows. I'm like, bro, when it's done, it goes into a vault and it is memory hold
Yeah,
forever.
I agree.
People will mention stuff that I've said on the show. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Did I say that? You could probably convince me that I've said just about anything.
traumatized, actually trying to block it out of your memory.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's telling you, man up.
High Voltage 75 comes in with the save, says, why is it always Brett who gets tortured?
Look,
That is
I
true.
wouldn't enjoy it either. I'm just
My
saying,
hair-
like,
But Mary's up for it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
My hair is still blonde because of episode 400.
Oh, come on.
nobody wants me to dye my hair. So, I mean, it's only
Why?
fair. I wouldn't.
You should dye your hair blue. it's the hardest
They like
color to
making
get
Brett
out.
change his hair. I've already had blue hair in
Well,
the
I think it's
past.
'cause
I don't want to go back to that.
It's a bit more normal for women to do their hair, so
Yeah.
it's like not as exciting.
Right, yeah. Brett,
Come on,
we have to
Brett.
do
Come
this.
on,
The wager has been set. It's done.
Not for 10 crisis parties, but
What? How many?
15.
Come on.
15.
You're asking a lot.
Hey,
Jeez.
hey,
666 watchers.
they're the ones who
Be happy
they're
with
the
that
ones
number.
who they're the ones who want it. If they want it, how badly do they want that to happen? I've set the wager. 15 crisis parties.
Pat the plumber says how many super chats for Mary to dye her hair orange.
I
Yep.
am not doing that. I have invested literal thousands of dollars into my hair. I'm not gonna do it. Sorry.
Man, party
Sorry.
poopers.
But I will react to an old episode.
We are almost at a 4th crisis party.
All right, let's continue. Not that Jon Stewart said Love and Thunder wasted Christian Bale IMO.
Yeah. I mean, he was never going to be able to be the full, breadth of his acting abilities.
Yeah.
In
Do
the
you think
Marvel
he
movies.
watched Love
No,
and Thunder?
I think he's one of
Probably
those.
not.
I think he's one of
There's
those
no
ones who
way.
says he doesn't watch his old work or
Yeah.
something like that. There's a lot of actors like
He's
that.
like you.
Yeah,
He doesn't.
No.
Yeah. Brett doesn't watch his old work.
I know. That's not true. Like, I'll watch my old skating stuff. Like, I just
That's
won't watch my old this work.
right.
Shane H. Wilder said, I grew up with Marvel Comics. As a kid, the female characters never sold because boys enjoyed the male heroes as they were something to aspire to. Yeah. Like, that's, I guess, the point I was trying to make is, like, if your audience, despite your best efforts, is still majority
Right.
male, try to appeal to them. Tank Commander said, I'm one of the rare people who actually really likes the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show from way back when.
The funny thing about that is because I am such a boomer and such a normie, I loved it in its early iterations, in the early seasons, before it became heavily serialized and went into like
Yeah.
time travel,
Right.
like in all the multi-dimension stuff like that. I liked it in its earlier iterations before they even brought on Ghost Rider.
Right.
Like, plus after that, like, it was one of those shows that it just wouldn't die. It was
Yeah.
literally a corpse that it was
That's
like, it's
true.
gonna be canceled. Oh my God, they're bringing it back. It's like Fringe. Fringe was that
Yeah.
same way, where every year they're like, it's done for. They're not
Yeah.
gonna make it anymore. Oh,
Surprise!
it's back. Like, that was what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was.
Shane H. Wilder said, damn, Mary with the banger jokes today. I'm dead. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for enjoying my jokes.
You're only 11 crisis parties from getting us to rewatch
Come
an
on,
episode.
guys.
No, I mean,
Thank you, Ian.
guys, what I meant was when we're on episode 500, if we get to 10.
215.
Wait, what?
15. Not
Okay.
10.
I think
15.
he keeps upping it. He keeps upping
15.
it.
Fine. When we are on
15.
episode 500, which, if my calculations are correct, it's going to be on November 28th, Tuesday, November 28th, then get us to 15 crisis parties and we will fulfill your wishes. Shane H. Wilder said, Jezebel shutting down. Any more white pills? I might OD. Also, the Veterans Day Mary meme drops tomorrow before noon. You get a reprieve, Brett, for now.
Yeah, I'm always getting memed on here, okay?
That is
like,
true.
It's
It's a compliment if you think about it.
sure.
Yeah.
It's
Aw, come on. Don't
no,
be
Shane
such a
Shane does great.
negative
Shane's memes are great. Like he's they're always funny and they're always very referential. Here's the other thing though, is like a lot of times I'll go like I've seen like ones where they show back up in my timeline. I'm like I don't even get it because like I said I don't remember
Right.
anything I say on here.
Yeah.
Like
You're like, I said that?
the large ones like the talking about green olives or black olives is just such a in joke now that makes sense beyond just something I said one time on one show. But it was just like the other day he made Shane made a meme about like me referencing like very specific TV shows a lot, and I was like I had a headache and I was in kind of a bad mood. I'm like I do that a lot, don't I? Man, I suck at my job.
Aw. Taking it personally.
I did. Well, most of the time I don't. But like I said, I had a headache right then. I had a migraine. It wasn't fair.
Heavy Burn Man said,
Poor you.
I know,
Cry
I know.
me a river.
I
It
know.
flowed upstream.
I will.
Heavy Burn Man said, hate baiting is what I was doing in the theater watching the Marvels. I was a master at it.
You could say he was a master baiter.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, assuming he actually went to the movie, that's actually hilarious that somebody in
Hope you're joking.
in the
We
chat.
like bought so many tickets to the Marvels that we were single-handedly
crazy.
keeping this company afloat.
It still didn't do all that good.
It made like 6 million.
6.9.
We were about 1 million of those.
Pretty close at like 4 theaters.
Carrie Goons said, Carrie Guns. What's the obsession with Seattle when Minnesota is way better? Your hat game is on point, though. Minnesota.
I have a story.
Oh
I have a
no.
story. Okay,
Sorry.
I've mentioned before that the Seattle hat is, I wear Minnesota Twins hats in Minnesota sports teams because I'm from Minnesota. I wear Seattle Mariners hats because Ken Griffey Jr. is my favorite athlete of all time. And I thought he was quite inspirational, given he has a pretty crazy story. Not just the fact that he competed through all of like the greatest era in baseball history, which is the steroid era, which is when baseball was great. He did so without steroids, or at least it's, he hasn't ever been accused
Allegedly, right.
of using steroids, but the pitchers use steroids too. But also that just so I support it for that reason. Also, so this is the story. So not that long ago, we went to Warehouse Theater, to where you went to see the Marvels, to see a movie, and I was buying my food, and we went with like me, Mary, Sarah, and a couple of other people went, and like I'm buying my food, and the guy like asks me if I'm buying Sarah's food.
He specifically asked, "Are you gonna buy your girlfriend's food?"
And I was like, which is like super, which is a huge assumption, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, not now, just out of principle. But like, the point being that I was like, it's not my girlfriend.
Well, no,
like,
the guy was trying to figure out like, is she single?
No.
So I can ask her out.
So I went to the theater yesterday, and he tried to talk to me for like 5 minutes about the hat I was wearing. So I think he actually just wanted to find out if I was single, not whether she was single. Yes.
Did he have a fruity vibe?
Let's get the
He did-
cameras
he,
down there
he-
ASAP.
he seemed
Documentary
like
time.
but yeah, he's like, what kind of hat? Like, I was wearing like a Minnesota North Stars hat. And I was like, oh, it's an old Minnesota hockey team. I collect vintage Minnesota sports teams. So the point being that it wasn't about Sarah. It was about me, ladies and gentlemen. I was the one that he wanted.
all the attention is
because
always
of me.
on you.
Yep.
Bucky Ducky said, have a good weekend, y'all. Use this to get yourselves something nice. The $5 we can split between us. What can we
Taco
get?
Bell.
In
Taco Bell.
Biden's
Taco
economy?
Bell. In this
so
economy?
good.
In this economy?
Bidenomics? Pat the plumber, or no, Bucky Ducky again said, nah, I'm funny AF. Watching people watch my stuff is fun.
Oh.
Adopt this mindset, Brett. Like, take it as a compliment to how far we've come.
We'll do that.
Right?
We'll do that. Yeah. No.
We'll pat ourselves on the back for how far we've made it.
It's more about how far you've come rather than, how bad
It's
you
about
were
the
at one
journey,
point.
not
Yeah.
the destination.
What is this, a bumper sticker parade? Just get that shit out of here.
Pat the plumber said 5 hours for 500. That is the plan. Yeah. No? 4?
4.
Brett's like, I'm not doing it that long. I'm out of here.
We did 5 hours for 400, so 4 hours
Then
for 500.
how does that make sense?
Yeah.
Didn't make.
Like always, it depends on.
Okay, I rarely make
Superchats
sense. So
and
like
things
I
like
always
that.
be.
It's got to be 5 for 5.
I rarely make sense. Like I used to grow my hair out in the summer and then cut it in the winter.
Why?
I would have because I played hockey. So
Right.
but so I was never hockey hair length during the
Yeah.
hockey season. I would always cut it before the season started.
What a rebel.
Literally just didn't think far enough ahead. Just didn't think far enough ahead.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, do not worry. You'll have to endure my 500 video that includes a clip from the live test and the first live episode. No. No. Not the live test. Not that.
Shane, I'm probably just gonna block you that day. Like I'll unblock you afterwards, but I'm probably just gonna block you.
I mean, in the live test,
Suddenly
it
Brett
was
is very nervous about this episode.
It was me and you and Lydia and Andy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just sitting here because I didn't think anyone was watching. So why would I need to be entertaining? And it was
They
framed
got
like
you.
it was framed like I was a tiny doll in a chair way too big for me because we hadn't like figured it out yet.
the new Annabelle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes. Can't wait, Shane.
So I guess, does that mean
Thanks.
that I was just roped into 5 for 500? Does that mean
Yes.
500? Okay, fine.
Do it for me, Brett.
Wait, what are you
Come
talking
on.
about?
Come on, Brett.
5 hours for 500? Noon to 5?
I mean, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
OrganizedBusinessServices.com said, is Mary high today? Cracking jokes today? Wait, what? I don't...
Let's get a 5th crisis party, guys.
I'm not high on anything but Zins. That Stanzatastic said, is there a Black Friday episode? Do we get discount wagers on that day?
I don't know if there's a black... Oh!
We're not doing an episode on Black Friday.
That would be,
We're going to be in the trenches fighting each other for flat screen TVs at Walmart.
Yes.
You can see us there on Walmart Plus.
No, somebody's like, there was a great meme going around. It says like, to all of the stores for Black Friday, it says, we've all got big screen TVs. Please put groceries on sale.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
DC&C said, Bretty, step into your confidence and watch some old clips. Step into your confidence.
That's an inside
Come on,
joke because
Queen.
I don't like the phrase "step into your." I've got a list of things I don't like, phrases I don't like, and that's high on that list.
It's
of
all right.
Things I don't.
You'll like it one day.
I will not.
You will.
I will not.
You'll be forced
and
to
I'm
like
not
it.
gonna. I don't want to like look. No. Just no old clip
Yes.
watching for me. First of all, that's super narcissistic. Like, I'm not gonna be like, you know what I want to do right now? Oh my God, I was so funny there. That was a great point, Brett. Go off. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
High Voltage 75 said, Vara on GamerMates. They're playing Mario Kart.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Maybe.
Maybe you guys can catch her on GamerMates after this.
Yeah.
That's very plausible.
Grofty said, Taco Bell ahead, off to Maids.
Taco Bell's delicious.
They're all jumping ship and going to GamerMates. What are we, chopped liver?
Apparently we're chopped liver. That sucks. I was just gonna hang out here and talk to you guys in the chat, but if you're gonna leave, I guess
If you're gonna leave,
if you're
you
gonna
just
leave,
got one guy.
I guess we'll just call it a day. I would have been happy to sit here.
We
but
feel like the dildos abandoned in the drawers of former Jezebel writers.
when you started that,
That
sentence, I was
was
like, where
unhinged.
the hell is this going?
That was unhinged.
There's one more here from Shane H. Wilder.
You'll
Though I would
actually
love a
enjoy
fifth
it.
price
It's
button.
very sentimental. Is it a tearjerker?
Oh, God.
We're gonna get emotional here. Episode 500 therapy session.
We've come so far.
You look like you want to die.
Anyways, guys, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna
Come on.
For some
Brett.
reason, I have been crying out of my left eye this entire time.
It's me.
I don't know what's
I
happening.
punched her before the episode started.
Has someone been cutting onions and like Vera's under the table cutting onions?
Yep.
That's actually a really funny idea.
But my left eye is still crying. I don't know what's happening. DC&C said it's more fun to raid the maids unexpectedly 15 minutes in.
Yep.
Well, we can't. I don't think that YouTube allows stream raids. Is that a
They
thing?
do.
They do?
Yeah, if you go to the stream dashboard settings, if you scroll to the bottom, it says that you can redirect.
Okay. Maybe we could figure that out.
You can set it up for like permanently, like
Brett,
you could do it one
Brett,
time.
get on that. Get on that.
Stream raids are a thing.
Why is it always me? Why is it
Because I don't have access to the channel.
Why is
All
it
right, Brett,
always
get out of
me?
the way. I'll do it.
Why is it always me? All
Brett.
right, guys.
Bucky Ducky said it's not narcissistic to enjoy your own art.
True.
This is art? A podcast?
Yes, it's art. We need to
All
encourage
right.
him some way. It's art.
So not art. It's so not art. It's fine, sure. Yeah, great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to tell everyone, please, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. We did make it almost a little under a third of the way to a fifth crisis party. That'd be cool if we got that by the end here, especially since you've been bullying me the last 45 minutes of
no
this
one's
show.
been bullying you.
But Vera, thank you so much for joining us
Yes,
today.
thank you for having me on again. I appreciate
It
it.
is so good to have you back.
I'm glad to be here. Always glad to come on.
Why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Vara Dark Titan Media. You can find me on Twitter/X. You can find me on Instagram, all under Vara Dark. I do video game live streaming and entertainment commentating.
Indeed. All right. We got a couple more super chats there, Mary.
I can't read them. Can you?
Okay, yeah, I got him here. So one from DC and C says, we already get redirected to Gamer Maids after PCC. It's done, yo. Yeah, it does. Like it shows up as like it looks like a poll, but it says like to join on Gamer Maids. It already does that.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if what they're talking about. If
is it
rating
something
is the same,
different?
But it redirects. Ours redirects in the chat to send them there.
Yeah.
We got one
Okay.
more here from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet. This episode feels like a fever dream. Tell me about it, bro. Tell me about it. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. I'm already getting a lot of hate for calling Renee Rapp fat. You know what? Get into the trenches with the Stan accounts for me. You know, like, help me out here.
Perfect.
Throw me a
Mary.
bone here.
All right, guys. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show. Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.